Well, ma'am, good evening. Akwaba to Jasu Jumedine live on OK 101.7 FM near partner radio stations, High Life Radio, Pekia Live of Virginia, Kings Jersey or New Jersey, Abroach, Mona, Bigachu FM, SO Pekia Live, Ewo Kukren to me. Naspa Radio UK and Adafo Media, so France and Belgium. Ma'am, good evening. From Vim Lady, and I will be looking at the budget, whether a 24-hour budget. And that's all budget, hope budget be creative jobs, some Ghana for budget. But so far, there's been some very, very new things to be in the budget. Taxes na econo, to say enthusiasm, and jubilation, no, just say, and go for come out, people are excited. Go for any budget. You better say about 2 or 4 years now because you need yeah, na me catch Ghana for necramedy to Facebook, na me catch here, same people for by 2017. One of me a benchmark values, no matter duty. So now, so kind for jubilate. Yeah, 2 years old. Now, economy in eco ditch. Yeah, I feel a year, COVID-19. Yeah, the taxes are bad. Any idea? Even under NDC, no, I cry NDC. When NDC was in power before 2016, yeah, to abano. Now, economy no watch my call IMF no. We've been forced to even introduce new taxes, including VAT on banking transactions. Into checkbook cry a VAT also. They were charging on banking transactions and financial transactions. Yeah, the import duty levy 1% to import duty levy, including condom. Any second, is early days yet. Oh, President Mama 120 days no. And they were going into the budget. Then the second part of the program no, you better America for a year. President Trump is deporting there, but there's also something very interesting going on. H1B visas. Or say wow, university a degree. Obama on paper, but now America now the bubble because says you are no pressure brain. And that's very interesting. So we are also all pamon for because of me illegal immigrants. But also more brain. Yene Ghana embassy for Subeka because they need to tell us say a dear one or more day my Ghana for no. It cannot be say you Ghana na America for yeah dear, but wa embassy na wo America no omu nhyɛ da nya help bi other countries are now we just said there omu de mwa ema omu nkofo na tutu omu bo omu nkofo pa. And the question is Ghana embassy ni de mwa pa na mo so mo de boa Ghana for Ghana. But let's start with the budget. Dr. Sarkodie echere ade economics department University of Ghana Legon. What being one contemuni ade drew honoma or de encontani ade my pa. So he's the perfect person to speak about the budget. We need us budget and away a budget a bit me de asem aba. That's what we want to find out. But you piaga usi na your birthday so nyakopon sha ya mo official pass so ma nkwatentin na koswa na ye adwuma. So this is Jasu your live on OKFM or radio online everywhere. Betimi so akache e Vim Lady online e YouTube. Odo comment so by e be come because and now say am pass e be politicians because ko MPP for na hey ya anji betting tax. All these things that MPP for come on anji betting tax man can tell you and then NDC ka say ya scrap tax we are scrap afa na mbe ka say man anji betting tax. It's too late. You should have come clean initially. Into your economics nankasa. Mega they are the independent people. Dr. Edusa good evening.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Mechia Obiazo.
So who you there? Adumarako. First and foremost, budget no. First, you see, last year 2024, economy grew by 5.7%. First and foremost, I didn't economy grew last year.
Yeah, yes, no credit. I'm saying economy growth no. Not do free mining, any quarrying, any gold. Unse Ghana nyamia ya dom ye gold unde say economy impact. They say Ghana we are say mine na ye di kan ana we are say na to sunsia. Into gold pa.
So I say gold production Ghana is number 1
in Africa.
And the whole world they are number 6.
Yeah, number 6.
Last the whole world China for now number 1 ana.
China they almost be pa. Last year
you go to China.
So almost a China economy no my din so monkasa. Okay, China for say me promise empower omon fa obi asem nya asem omo edi no mo hwe so ebo mo bra nti ono bi na was say Ghana yesua nti gold production ana won say you can say value of an item the price times quantity.
Okay.
And GDP na a price times quantity. Until you can real GDP na you hold price constant, not production on one year. Until Ghana the boy and say good price cost and a good production so cost until a boy pa. But we real GDP of 5.7 in there, you hold price constant until production kwa and another year can once. Until Ghana your production now cost by 5.7 and do now so free a year good any in the idea. And cost oil. You say oil no so about from I think about from more than about 20% since time I started to oil by 2011. I started to oil no. Close to 30% cry. Yeah, oil no come from this year new world and santi. See, and I agree and so born home and I service sector and so born home until we no ne idea boy na say the be the amount for can say growth na buy no employment ahina de buy say growth no baby e free ba no adwuma a the machines and say good say the do na oil ni na machine and na na the be can say growth no free baby a employment no what they are 1% kwana say bit create jobs be 200,000 na essence say growth free enwuma the machines akese na no.
It's not just the okay dog. Not just even though extractive industry gold no Ghana economy no a grow 5.7 no. A new man shada because machines they gold sector no.
Yes. Enwuma say entina unemployment rate no e page from 7 to 14 no, almost double. By 2023 ending no na unemployment ni gina 14.7. Yes, economy no expand in a way I bet me create more jobs. Me can say one create jobs, we create bi, but the create no anso me can say omo pay adwuma no anso omo so. As HS scanner nipa 100 na which man drew 50 so that's a 50 na aka no omo anya bi. Yes, I can say one sika kro wo chai by bi anya bi. Nti enwuma no de omo create but anso obi aso because baby na enyini intentem no machines na and baby a betimi employ nipa intentem so no eno so nyini no slow nti da bia ka agrek any manufacturing nti da me ya say one day one factory no omo nto aso because in factories any industries the whole employment ni gina o pick one factory a obenya cleaner ho obenya driver ho obenya plumber ho obenya technician ho obenya economist ho obenya accountant ho one factory be even say shoe factory so accountants also try and manager or human resource or be interview economists or be calculate the production the marginal product any average cost ni na a cleaner or be or driver or be driver just say into one factory e be fa obi obenya bi a police station e wo area ho obenya sports facilities any nyama bebre obeyi school teacher form so benya sika ebenya adwuma nya ho sika and ntina da bia meka say yensua other countries like India, must study India for industrialization policy. Omoye industrial hub. Omo nyeno yense no kete say the yes at industrial and say be out per cotton a whole place how the cotton adwuma entire adwuma garment. Say be out per sure uko be out per adwuma enyoma ntosi ne yi na obekọ side ha be abekọ akomadan upe sure abekọ kumase open tomorrow other tema open bia bayira ne nyama na abekọ north nti sa no maye no na wo see a typical factory a obehia police station obehia school obehia market we sa no mani nya ma employment na ba na ache wo demand for dollars and so about so local currency na ho de no ebegina nti we can grow 1,000% but say enwuma ba bia enwuma no every ba no se ni nyini na ankosra employment so e makese nti
doc mbese nti osansi studio biofo bi afa na wa join here na about say last year no crest economy no grow 5.7%. But our growth no ama because dodo na our gold sector in Ghana gold sector na the highest area of growth for us last year.
Extra you can nyabo mo kind of extractive sector.
Okay.
Any construction, any mining, and quarrying. Mining is a good name bauxite, name manganese, ni na ka ho. Nti me si subio say no crazy ye grow 5.7%, but growth no do na free mining and construction extractive sector no. Even IMF cracker say extractive sector no be grow 12%. Na whole economy will grow 4%, but extractive sector no can grow 12%, which means a honor there because I'm saying Ghana you good pa. Amount for cry say galamsey fight no cry ka ho senke yanye galamsey fight a nke binya more nke binya more growth than the nya no. Nti growth na free baby a creating nyuma free baby a machines and yade nti going forward no say pese yenyini mfamfa kuaye ene mfindi dwuma ho ehonum na ebenya employment kese pa
it just any bad last year Ghana performing bad cry but I reflect it.
Yes, performing bad cry but say reflection in there and yet last year problem. It has been the bane of our economy since 1927. Nti asem no ye ka amam me nka no 1 year asem say o aban we na anya ade. Since 1927 Gaggisberg economy na abrofo ndi jaye no. Ye ntimi sisa mu kase bia up to 2024 I know ka say 2025 I know ka say. Say economy mu di ja abrofo ndi jaye ne say ye produce raw materials na ye de nim nyansa before nim nyansa ye be add value. Na ye family wo mu na nim nyansa. Nti e bia cocoa beans ya nti broni fe no primary commodities nti abebi man nyina primary commodities na ye export nti gold a o de ye cocoa beans no kwa o de dua gold no can cocoa a dua cocoa no kote ne hata beans no memfa hwe nka ho fa hye bag mu na fa bre wo Britain mem ye ne nim nyansa ye de be hye afidie mu na afidie na aye chocolate a mawo na ya sa de abrem ani milo na ya sa de abrem na mato nti sa Gaggisberg economy no na ba omi afra no import dependent economy no eno ya tra ho sa besi Kwame Nkrumah na ko oye bibi ana onso di mfiensi apen yetu no ana we mu baaye kutoka mu baaye afrifa champon omunyina obi abaye na famu de Rollins baye bi President Kufuor, President Aba, President Mills, President Mahama, President Kufuor de na manage ho pa because when they see more than 100 factories. Nti na me free senka ye toa so saa momentum of starting nke toa so saa nke be ye bi by this year answer na aban we so on toa so aban we see 2025
budget ni no atofo senka so omontoa 1D1F no so
the all they say yes year when they omun can say yeah adwuma nti no am finance no but the omun nwie ya no there's no allocation for it.
Wow.
Yeah. Maybe be next year no best
be sikaba next year umbeto so yeah
24-hour economy no best year obey no so the industrialization policy about there and the fair na but this year budget no pa there that no be brave. I think President Kufuor no be brave year zongo development fund ni and capping ni na I answer shall be brave our budget far from the President Kufuor not all year no.
It's patrol betimi am just a summary of because the any money taxes no you levy because me no one yatna ha say na wo kan my education say you levy no na ka ye betimi aye maintain because ye here sika de aye nyuma especially aban shop 24-hour economy no so say bi o yes kwancha de fe ye nye na diska na ye say so you levy na etwam betting tax etwam we etwam inte say sika no free.
Okay, so until you can say scanning free here, I'm saying budget we ankasa there. Me ankasa free see me who budget ya ne expenditure no growth rate negative that.
Wow.
Expenditure until yes what so papa what so him until o share the whole picture the amount details but I heard the whole picture now why not just say I feel we no obey or ni moroso bebre. So in fact sika wa twama no ho akonhoma this year no less than the Kufuor twama no ho 2024 broni kind of expenditure or the American expenditure for this year 269.1 billion for 2025. But expenditure for last year was 279.2 billion, which means uti free ma bear 1 billion, no, bear 10 billion.
Na free so.
And free so. And growth rate in negative 3.6. Me office here will mean negative 3.6 growth in expenditure.
This year economy didn't grow.
Yeah.
At least expenditure in terms of near no.
No, and your economy name grow. Say GDP growth in there 4.0. And no lower than the for the DJI of 5.7. But where your expenditure, a yes, or the boy a home brand. You say budget in your revenue, a sika or nya. And your expenditure, dear, you mean I said the wood, you can't do the workers within the room. But the boy of mine home brand. And then you find expenditure. And the Kufadu Chaman, who saw the boy or man of brand. Was 279.2. The president, my chairman saw the bottom of man who brand here 269, which is 10 billion cities difference. And the Afu and I said, oh, you share a DB transformational part, there we know budget. You won't see anything transformational in the budget. Jobe who want to say, Bia, no man can get into the body can cast a book on getting get your bay from Juma and your man can get you. But a bigger push, be a 2026 budget 2027.
Yeah. So no, can you understandable because mukroya de bia mukasa buying expenditure so until a car or bow or mine no so na na IMF was so near etwe. Nti bia IMF one catch up say this year na to me my own spending more and to send yema be hye yie. Nti negative expenditure is not a good thing.
No, and yes, so much of a good thing because I buy sika or the bond home brand, expenditure, no, a stimulated growth.
Okay.
A stimulated growth. Mechanism simple. Say bia say.
A twitwim puntu oba.
Aban no wo so no ho a. Obia keka ne ho. Na wa wudi anim ni yeso odisi anko adwane. Wa wudi anim wa anwo ho anye twobo ye nko a. Na so ka say oh ko din ane ya edi wachi na ebe ko din. Nti afuwe America abano etu no wase ontu obesusu America no obe ya adwobre kakra nti ya edi na chi nyina na be ya adwobre nti ama enti na ama GDP growth no a project no 4.0 instead of more than 5.7 no nti median kamisusu ye pan se nka onfa nyina babia President Kufuor the guy of 279 mo onfa ontiso mo onyama nyina ho am ontiso because ye kwanim ewiase obi ye kwanim nti wo de onko anim crowd de gina faako wo de ono a wa anko nanim ono so wa nyina faako akonachi akonachi be
but is it likely to have okay what can say be affect economy 5.7 last year na just say this year on my nyini na beba na chi nti ne ma be bredi o mo ne abusi ehwe we nsanka ho.
Okay, yeah, on money you know Kunachi. I will Kunachi and I say negative growth, but you know any tentem said the last year and young cancer.
Okay.
Once I say me no to America. Not last year me you. And this year so that me say oh me still me come in there but my sister if you be me. One. Nti ye nyina ye ko anim nti America na year 2 no 2025 budget no say onyi 2024. Though ko anim there but obedi 2024 na chi. Nti yes, you need still because the growth near positive. Say negative for now because you're it's growth near positive. But a positive no a growth rate in the say as a car speed no. Speed now 2024 no they call 2025 speed no you're lower than 2024 speed. But still I
okay.
And the speed no watch so.
Okay, nti dog ka pay for your taxes na no so 11 ni ade no. Betting tax yes ye ni nyina fi obi ni nyina ban hye ho bo president mama ka se meyi in fact ba omi akra so kan so obeyi nti o mo yi ankenye wonwa but be boa yen
be boa yen no ni ase una meka se na nkeni kwan se what expenditure no so by 10 billion but o so because taxes now obenya na to na obenya na so wate so.
Okay.
Ana o hwe ne budget no a utie ono abo atofo sen vetting time no metie no pa and na mo fie nti me hwe no. Or say this year they are going to pursue. I mean, kind of Flamenco or say they are going to pursue spending-led fiscal consolidation. Spending-led, just say Your cut fiscal consolidation just say the difference between revenue and expenditure and gap no you be close to no. So we close to na two ways. Either say the revenue no be cost and now the expenditure no be back form. And I honor about to force and say for 2025 now the expenditure no be back form and power the back form by 10 billion. Next year and the revenue no be cost so the be be content. This year Ankasa was expenditure led fiscal consolidation. Just say sikana or the boy home buy no better so and pass what so. And the tossing university no percent or fulfill the manifesto promises. It's so similar to 2017 budget. We had 2017, Brian to Obama President Kufuor 2016. The first budget was just to fulfill
Aye. And number benchmark value titi duty so
yes, it just me now started one district, one factory, one village, one now started. So apart from 24-hour economy, no, the manifesto promises now was started in this year's budget. And your promises obey betting and through away, or promises obey e-levy through obey way, or promises obey insurance something way. Idea onye but also obey air COVID-19 levy. And no onye because was say can page 47 of the speech, paragraph 170, or say or train IMF.
Okay.
Na IMF no abebuana menayi. But obviously say that they got to one who be year or IMF. Say IMF let about 3 years. So the 3 years. So 2 years you are there. And I will train IMF. So my technical assistance and send away. But me ubisa me suye pa dia. Me enra na me wo TV3 me kan na me so me sister station me kan. Peace FM me kan say betting tax my personal position wo mu say yen sakrai training na yen sakrai me yin free ho. That was my position before the budget said 3 taxes na betting, e-levy, and COVID-19. Yen sakrai wom but me yin free ho because I buy here car or the buy free SHS or buy kwan they say we say first year university students who be your own school ni na say kwan share there first car there here. Then na we here car the buy there na we yi to na free ho. Until me susu ya ne di kan say before budget me susu ya ne di kan say one betting tax no on say betting tax no 10% withholding tax on the winning and this auto tax auto bet now we win 100 cedis ya the 10% is on the 100 cedis but that me susu ya ne say nipa no or the sika ya de nam na yinam oboka ansa na o winning nti say bia oboka or the 20 cedis na shame and o winning 100 ya ne mfa so 80 and the tax number 80 so not 100 no so.
Okay.
Because a profit a man profit so the tax. So we bet you why no be bet you why the crowd so you tax. But Ghana and the fine we bet you idea or share or they the bag give you the bit ya. Until o profit now be your bet and then can yen tax. So yen tax 80 and 100. And I mean to see na to so me on the E11 on the E11 I can't want some be and my article only say maybe na more Egypt no my article na me try on 11 I winning me award me winning 4 awards.
Oh wow. wow, that's good.
It means to see na article no see and say the present design no enye papa because it's not supported by any economic theory. Say me say is the fear sika ni ateme me sika co bank ni ateme me the bank e ba me wallet ni ateme is not supported by any economic theory. But it's a crime, I suggest and say design we no money free ho. Nemo omofa tax enkoto charges no so, telcos no charges no so.
Okay.
They say if I say MTN, me sending MTN charge me 1 cedi. I buy for tax enkoto 1 cedi no so. What the tax no koto 1 cedi no so. Now the telcos will decide say or the tax ni or tax ni na and also be pushing
and now the Bema will consumer no ha.
Now only the beche. Until we decide move from 1% to say 2%. Until I buy the 1% but any e-levy bill. Oh, the smart way of doing it. Until they charge no koto or the tax no koto charge no so. MTN and I said tell us and I said may increase their charges from 1% to 2%. Depending on the tax incidence, I buy benya 1%, MTN benya 1%. Into the same charge, but a different design.
Okay.
The amount for and complaining. Obia no be complaining say
Now can say na ban fa say bia that's a suggestion on betimi dey aye adwuma de.
Me sure say because promises of year or manifesto they want to fulfill it in tea and work can so yentie. And yeah, me can so be entie.
Ebi obetie from next year kon na bi obetie.
Yes. Into my second suggestion so say e-commerce a good day didn't work for internet so no Instagram, Facebook, TikTok a good day be coso until hot day taxi or more and so I don't know. Into tax the e-commerce and then tax the charges of the telcos. These were my two recommendations about the e-levy. Into only the present design, no such them, no for tax and to charges also. No for on taxi e-commerce. They say digitization now by now say me call ECOWAS workshop or Abuja. Me yam presentation obia born and say Ghana for say can say a biblim had there you can digitization part the Ghana kunanim bebre.
Wow.
In fact say Congo crab ba Ghana and sense obisuan say the year Ghana card no. Na say me call bank and you say me fam ko promoting NCB so me dey see so no maybe bia me Ghana card information na ba so na idea na ahon kapa anti digitization dey aboy anti yem fa no enye tuo yem fa no enye gisika e wo ye man no ana me susu ya na toso me ansa e wo COVID-19 no eno dey am say bia
say no dey also omo anyi omo say e kire IMF ba
almost omo twa IMF in April omo ba April nti omo ba April a na ya hwe ba me see mo munyi the entire make say so first student me can no more if you been to omayi bet omayi 11 but COVID-19 no because bet in 11 no bet in 11 no na ma buy 2 billion cedis a year.
Okay. Betting tax any 11 2 billion Ghana cedis.
Yes, 2 billion cedis. Free SHS last year na 3.2, this year will be 3.5. It would mean say 11 in betting tax no a bit to be finance about 70% of free SHS. Ana COVID-19 levy no so no me susu ye ne say yen change edin no yen be a health related levy or health issue levy
and a sanitation levy
but also purely on health basis.
Okay.
Na yen change edin yen fanko health specifically. Enti say obi susu another professor bin suggest say yen change edin nko free SHS yen free SHS levy. Because Professor Nususu said COVID-19 nkwa betimi finance free SHS ebeka ketua bi emene ne ya adwene ba me first suggestion is nke yefa nko health and say na say yet thing enene bi say national health insurance among for say nka dialysis or fanka.
Yes,
presently national health insurance covers about 90% of all diseases. 90% of all diseases. And think of the dialysis and diseases become one and calculate in bed 95-98%, almost 100%. In Ghana, then how you repair Uncle soon Srabosia or Buha will answer or health insurance. Because COVID-19 a cover.
Okay.
My second suggestion is to say, Nancy Health Minister Honorable Akando essay agenda 111 now President Kufuor Dija or mine ohia financing by $1.5 billion. $1.5 billion no and na make us nka yen keep COVID-19 no
anke this can be aye
and today ke bia yen project no one by one ka this year we bia 1 or 2 this year next year near we 1 2 so the next 10 years near we 10 hospitals nke be ya kwanim sa next be 15-20 years no na COVID-19 nkwa boy me nya be 20 hospitals in the country.
I think that's a good suggestion. Say nkofo be jai political pressure no dey ma man na aban betimi afasa de nchire.
Ya aban na go pay pressure man ho. Obi na go pay man no.
They say do campaign their kasa head campaign they different from as okopo ba no. Different from their you know we should understand say nke yen keep COVID no na because ye pe agenda 111 so here hospitals so here.
Yes.
If they betimi maintain COVID levy near than no health levy near the FCC hospitals now can you bad idea cry.
Yes. Yeah, keep na say Ghanaians have gotten used to it. To say you chia. At least what you betting, what you levy, what you know COVID-19 they keep it. Mesra I'm from ba no ma ko meeting ba ko ka chiro say mo munti aba mo munyi. O man na ho ni ntimi mfanye because he hear sika.
Yeah.
Na o ka say nkwancha dey fa. Sika na ye dey. Ye pay free SHS sika, capitation grant sika, school feeding program sika. the abane be bia sika nti yemfa amanyasem no nto nchen na yenyae se ase ye pese abane ye kwan abane ye bi ba ye pese betu ato menti ase
I na menti ase no
ma menti ase ye pese abane ye ba ye pese ye betu ato ama abane
because that's okay mami busa this agogo MP independent candidate he was saying say yes and confirm person betu taxes near jail ordinary people hono and ka yente so say the abanye yi betting tax any 11 if you I would say and ka betimi sponsor free SHS but his suggestion is and ka yan fast taxes to enko cap mining no because what said that is the highest growth area extractive industry mines oil no me the whole is free pa na the issue is omuntu tax bebre nti yan fa nkoka omo na yenya mo sika free wo mo because wa ma ye hu emre bi enu ye interview say extractive industry no and fa so omunye omo de ko omo abro kire bebre na ye mo ne ye bre so go ne ye dia
and fa so de yenya mo 10% pe that is why good there ye dia no yeah with them nti I don't know the next point I can make why are there pa was my next point nti budget no abane say on say de bia nkomo ne say why tax ye free nti sika no benya bi na be hyem abane say obeto a withholding tax on mining from 1% to 3% into your mining tax watum ontum me kwa 3 nkraisha ontum bebre and number 2 we share figures of royalties.
Yeah, but new budget in Omato withholding tax ni muno.
Omatum on the mining. Omatum from 1% to 3%. In January, no more.
Now what mining? Why 1%? Now, oh.
No, and your corporate tax, or more corporate tax, yes, so about 30%. Okay. The corporate tax is different. Where or more ankasa profit. I know what to. I know
because profit so na one omunye sika kese na omode kwa abrochire no.
Yeah,
we should tax more.
Yeah, we should tax more. And what say I don't know we so free preoccupes epo se amoja na eba nti ube na kakra nti we say kakra. Na royalties ne che say ase mabetra ofie na metua rent. Omutua royalties because omo ba yekrom no mba ye adwuma. Na ye friend royalties no. Na royalties no 5%. Maybe nam no kasi na 3% na ona bodu for mu.
Dr. do for the call 5.
And 5% no. When we say sika as 5% in the mine on the minerals, no, all minerals minus oil. Okay, all minerals together minus oil, which is a gold, manganese, aluminum, all minerals together. How will you oil free man? When we say sika at the mine, no, is the same as the covenant in the mine. So royalties, yes.
Royalties now mines and the mine. It said sika in your COVID-19 level.
Yes.
And they said so.
2022 COVID-19 my 1.6, royalties in my 1.8. 2023, COVID-19 my 2.1, royalties my 2.2. 2024 projections, COVID-19 2.0, royalties 2.0.
And then so the mining industry, they are cheating us.
Yeah, and that make us a COVID-19 me and you from because the mine is the same as the royalties on the mining. And the mining no kwado muntum royalties no mun double mun fanko by 10%. Na yenye sika bebre. Almost started with 15, so we're negotiating. Almost started with 15%. No more negotiation. No more crack. Remember, I was on number 8% and now 10%. Then it will be fine. Until money in there, or to my own tomb, and then the royalties in one santum. Now, because Omunya for soil, Obisi, Omba Comuni baby, Omuni baby, Ghana, ha good, or papa.
Because one my says Ghana is the number 1 gold producer in Africa.
In Africa, number 6 in the whole world. Only baby Newmont or baby and South Africa. Only baby or or maybe no gold chair Ghana. Only baby. So we should leverage on the gold we have. You should leverage it. So on my gold, we will gold pa na all taxes sanitary pad. Na yen mugasia pa na yam yadom. They say but each sanitary pad free. Botswana say university education is free. And can me free say be first year education now say be free. Na me can free say I prepare one too much. But on my good and can change can university education now free and can change. But he says Scano the way I say sign contract no. Sikano do na my ho nti ebe nto bo ase kakra. Na ebedrum na bi na nke bi enya half cry mfa so enya half cry. Na say university education na is free and can change. And can change a cry.
No, Prof. I was saying I started the campaign. Yes. The mining industry, no, it doesn't make sense that COVID gives us more money to say mining sector when we are number one producer of
There's the royalties.
royalties. We should get more royalties.
Yes.
We should get more royalties from them because one class over the last 10 years. No, we see Omanian Faswahe. 44 point something billion.
43 billion dollars. 43 between 2011.
Because also 4.3.
Yeah, between 2011 and 2018, and for some quite 43, not 4.3.
No, Doc. Some can it be because this one. I think I was saying jingle Uncle for.
We say between 2011 and 2018, that's about 8 years or 9 years, you know. The economic rent, that is an economist's way of calculating profit because we deduct the opportunity cost of capital from it. Until your accountant na calculate am could more profit than economist. Until the busy economists are prepared. Because we look at opportunity cost of capital. I know say my opportunity cost would have been set Kamada and I'm a program. Some guys say I'm a program. Program now mean young and enemy opportunity cost. In the economists, we always calculate those things. And to you're calculating now, and yet every revenue. And then for so many $43 billion in Ghana here, extractive sector altogether. Ghana deal with 10.4%. You have 4.2 billion. You have $4.2 billion out of $43 billion. And a good year you two or Hano.
Means two, means three.
Only say every will be sending me a video, no, your last interview, no. Obisu Kofai, and I was say, Ghana, sorry, madam, sorry, or yeah, voiceover to your interview. The secretary said, the youth, we are not serious. We should rise and take the government on, make the government more responsible. And I agree. He said, just said, now Kofa, beside me, I'm an economist. I have about 13 years training in economics, studying economics alone. Ubisa Miska said, Sister Fia, Dr. Sako, the Hena or my Benyasika. I transform your economy, ISC America. Make a choice say a good year. A extractive sector, no, a good year and Yamidia chair, no, a honest canoe. Until ye pescabia dia and your betting task and your 11, a good year, no, a honest canoe. I bet you something significant. Something significant. I bet you university education cry free. I bet you good transport system. I bet you railway line connecting all the regional capitals. Betting levy to me, your task and getting into me yet. Ye pesika about transforming the Ghanaian economy. The extractive sector,
which is the gold and the oil, no, and the quarry.
Yamiadum, ye the lithium abeka home, obesity, voter region, iron ore. Nina kahua. Now say, what do say export? The number you American, number you two of them is valued around $20 billion. What the lithium kahua this year? This year, so the lithium kahua, you've been about $20 billion export. $20 billion is a lot of money. And you have crowd, which is $10 billion multiplied by the exchange rate. Then episode to me, I want to me. And Kabia this year you focus on a Greek. Next year you focus on road. The following year you focus on railway. San Cabo when you take Ghana 15 years, not Ghana your first class. Do you know, sir, the plan for government, all governments now is that by 2057, when Ghana is 100 years, we want to see that Ghana is a first class country. That's a vision. Now maybe in the media. Now if we say 2057, we are in 2025. I count how many years? That's
20 years. Maybe 20.
20 years. Okay, 22 years. And
22 years, yeah, 20 to 57, yeah.
Make a 20 here.
No, I think I have 27 years. 25 plus 2. 27 years.
32 years. I cut 32 years.
32 years, okay.
I cut 32 years. Now, if I say Ghana, I say abroad. Now, baby, I didn't me.
But no, me pass a quite next Oklune, Mr. Ebuso, but me pass Mbusa Sadi will say, are you aware of whether Dubai for? Because at least I'm not a bear or Mokakra. In terms of some extractive industry, almost to oil, maybe more than the idea. But are you aware of royalties or Mojo? It's a idea, because it doesn't.
When your royalties be out.
Omunji royalties.
That's the difference between you Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Norway, China, Russia, USA, UAE. Omudiano say me na Ghana na say bia me na me UAE na Qatar na o sister if you na mining company na on. Oba me kura be too good na. Me bisa sister if you good na be too no. Obenya he na be cost say o Dr. Sako there. Gold menya be 4 million ounces of gold. Multiply by the price, you know, be $6 billion, but maybe $2 billion. I'm in the bet you. Miss okay, to gold, no, never me gold, mammy. Now, but on me, 2 billion can our boy and not cookroom. 4 billion I can hear me, media.
Instead, they to me, yes, sir.
There we say, yeah, beginning, no, near home prayer. Anna, Sican, so I was a dish, so, yeah. Mbese meka setia obia ya who answer ya who answer good anka say oh ye be nkakra ye jai say oh ye timi ntu ana IMF ne western ideas so kan omu bring wo share in the 60s say agudie ne de ma aban bia mfane sanhyem aban
ma ho metu
ana Saudi Arabia for say to hell with you omu ntie mu Norway no kro mo ye western country no man ntie wo mu. No more US for cry, no more to good. China, Ghana 2 lithium, China 2 lithium. The difference is that China or more companies need to. Until you a buying company, cry as a private company, I'll say be 2 Uber and Boca 2 billion, you 2 billion. Lithium in I media, me cotton, them buy them far. But gold in ye 2, yeah, the other ye 2. Gold in ya a buying diao. Gold in your mining company in dia. No, I bet you tax any royalties are mine.
I know I mean a dog over the years no, between NDC and MPP no. Why can't they come together and say yen change the system no? Yen change the system no yen ni say bi na so yen majority because see afraid despite ni afraid Sikafo e Ghana Ibrahim no ni ade at least we can put a team of Sikafo together, come up with the money and mine our own gold. And I to me yet. I no go bet me too.
And maybe catch them say maybe GMPC masa minim how to GMPC for venture and no credit but almost say they opened that bid say Ghana need be interested no first Cabra say Ghana need be ama I don't know how to
I mean yeah
I agree with you sir you were scaffold mem you bet me mo chance am mo akra do machine say at least nkom dey we Ghana for omuntu no nyafa so credit scan it na we there abrofo no tu a sika ni na ko anything that you see no depreciate every first quarter of every year. All the foreign companies that here adwuma o man omu nyina de musika kọ nti omu ye adwuma so munya mfaso en cities a shopping mall ni ayi nyina even sorry for so kan omunya mfaso na in cities no masesa into dollars dollar kakra na oma ye wo no masesa ni nyina no de kọ de no depreciate na depreciate na so saa de wontimi nya South Africa and Nigeria wontimi nkọ na actually na mo Abuja wontimi nkọ Nigeria nkọ business e menya mfaso me de ni nyina ekọ omu fiu omu ntwe ma ba Ghana de ya peye ensa se fa ko owura fa ni nyina akọ no de ni nyina akọ that retention law no it's not as if we don't have that law, we have the law but we have to
but it doesn't work
and see the difference na America between here and UAE ni Dubai and Saudi Arabia no omu de no ye tu agudie na ye omu de your man dia o manager pade na de omu be ye na ye omu adwenkyere ba Ghana de na ye tu a enye ye japade eye o man company na o tu no dia ye share omu 16%. And the remaining 84% no eye company in India. Now bet you are tax any royalties. So royalties there that Saudi Arabia royalties up there. Look at how rich they are. Go meet the royalties. I Qatar host to World Cup. Okay, say royalties. Royalties yeah. Sika royalties the mine covenant in the mine. Sika royalties the mine covenant.
No, wait. I was one of these days. I don't know. Say bet me to government of. I'll look at because it just doesn't make sense. Extractive industry, abrofo companies in 43 billion. And no more making no more the co-mukro.
No my 4.
And on my 4 billion pay.
Yes.
We are near the cap. I call IMF for America. So lala sulala. Mama yes, cannot my conditionality say into me so. Yes. Now your boy say Brenna unko for near Dumanya. It just doesn't make sense. Are these contract casting stone? Just yes, some contracts na yana.
Obi catch him say, "Oh, atem so be sisan. Judgment that you do be brew no."
Okay.
And see, they say you hope nyina ne say a good year na aka no. They say nyame ade bebre wo asase na say. Na no ba man speech or UPS was say the untapped resources no, they are valued at $10 trillion.
Okay.
Into the aka asase no their doors pa $10 trillion, almost half of American GDP. Into $10 trillion there. Nyame adom going forward no. I was say it's younger see a physical shame. And the problem will be a one say ye to a good year no. Ghana buy am first can shame. A honor problem no. Ye am first can shame into amanane ni so di sika be shame no. Ono so be boka nti obeka cho so boka ba we nya faso.
Yeah.
Nya no nti me say can you move from concession contract to production. Production sharing to say Nigeria and Botswana and one or more year. See, yen yet Saudi Arabia and Norway, the Nibia, yen the Nigeria for ye be. Yen the Botswana for the yen be. Botswana for no more yen say, go to near Bedia. Mining company class met be. Into yen to yen share cost no.
Okay.
We are half a profit in yen check.
Yeah, share.
You bet check cost. You bet check cost. You bet check production. You bet check profit. You bet check cost. You bet your production, you bet your profit.
Now say a bit me, we can do that. So why can't I was saying
we can do it.
Okay.
We can do it.
But the kwakwa mambusa because minim say wo event I was sanko but we dog we dey make committee in front of Obia say was say next week my to ade we so yes because especially mines extractive industry need there no dog say anya campaign na ya share down for anya crusade ya and we dey almost see over the years they will continue to do it e bia na aban adwene maso so we must consistently hammer it so that at force and befa no so ni abrofo companies yakotwe it just doesn't make sense yeah bre yeah maya ya nananum ni gold ni oil ni lithium ni ade eja ye bre na abrofo make 43 billion no mo de ko na yakwa IMF akwaje 3 billion ne ho Shadi Trump put America oh yeah, me mama we and then me try USAID or chama metal we be near Becca once me and then me Ghana for Obia panic because on my num koye but here was 43 billion yeah, prof. And now okay, there's so much we can do.
So much
2050 something and call mine best.
Yeah.
I said that's so in your mind.
33 million people here no so.
Yeah, no.
When him say Nigeria promo doors na me say last week na mo Abuja for ECOWAS workshop. Nigeria omo cap on public debt at 40%. Omo say omo mobosia mro 40% of GDP so. I am rare than Nigeria now. Not more than 40%. Ghana is here number 70%.
And technically across a HIPIC no. All rebates in man can do HIPIC no.
The difference between Nigeria for didn't know mutimi yesa. Omutimi yesa because omo gudia no. Omachem omo ye abunu Nigeria for omo ye na abunu. Onse na no ye abunu ni abusa. Nigeria for ye na abunu. Abunu na say one in abunu. Obi wa tell krasi bi en abunu. Abunu simple means me wa asase. But do abrofuo. Unya 100 bucks ya. Me di 50, u di 50. I don't be na Nigeria for ni ayimu ye no. Ye wa asase a gold wom. Brana betu. Utu aya chene pepepe. Me di 50, unsu di 50. Untu ejai. Cost no no. Me no be chene pepepe. Ebe cost 2 billion and 1 billion beba. Unsu for 1 billion bra. Yetu aya cha good yen pepepe. Obi anfa ne de. Profit ba ye chem pepepe. Obi anfa ne de. Eno to mutimi ka se omo bobosia. Na ye de egusu aye bobosia no.
Yeah.
Botswana say omo bobosia hibia. Omo bobosia go
de bobosia.
Obi a o gold. A new sempa say obi a number 1 producer of gold in Africa. Now you say you call Eurobond market, you almost say Ghana for what they come with me 20 years dan mamumbrem. Ebesine from 2022 besine, almost in Ghana for mom bosia muntua. In the year dan mamumbrem. Obi a o
Ghana say ya label ya say ya kaide.
Say nothing na yeko IMF can say restructure your debt no because na e cano mini e cana mini e ana e cano so mini wa obi en ho a na obi a wuti akura se na say wo de ka na akọ assume so oma bosia ogas oma ya men sabega so oma because o the over ye kra unya ntua enti ye ma sa na Ghana yakoye yesi ye tibera akopim the etua ni the akwaje ni ye ntua ye ma nkofo haircut enti omo se sa na mba dia ene nso ye ma nwuram enti ekosise bia ebewie I'm a programmer no ma adwo no ene bia ebebie door no dia minim but say dia door no ye mie ma ye but me so no ma me so I'm happy mo mie ya nwi so wa ha saa ye tax no ya nwi so ye ne money for no fam face so am se bosi abo no ya ye de sisi ana ya to eprum se ye ma ye nko me kwa me de se mo mie ma ye ne money for no fam face wa ha ebia ne se ye ni abra ye tum from 1% to 3% yo ye no mo fam face so ne yan to royalties no now with time no ye nye production sharing contract na me wana bu say question bi say nti ye ne day minerals income investment fund eno na cost started the whole argument say
okay
ye pesika na say ye discover e bia gold and say lithium and say oil wo ba bia na say minerals income no or contribute to contribute to ye fan ko to cry ka say wo mining company betu e be cost 1 billion ye 500 million also 500 million bra na ye na ye ntu e bia ne ahye eno na ekoye Japan a hon December that was the intention behind but I'm saying Ghana for the donor any contract
since I and Dr. Dufo na de buy a cranda Prof.
Yes. Dr. Dufo NDC President Mills time this idea na started say o say oil no cross
you pay ya sika ya ye de betu ya de
President Mills na started oil production no
that's
2011 until sir you started now say idea and say okay say no contract na ya sign no ye share almost 16% per until yempe bibia ye betime nya sika na yetime di akohyem ye fi sika nhyem ye di sika hyem a na ye benya faso bebre ana 2012 omulusu election ana MPP by 2016 omulusu election 2012 omwini na President Mahama by menye President Mahama time me hu so mo ye hyehyɛ nsan bia moma ana President Kufuor by ana obesisa no omukọ ejapa ana manfo say hey ombogu ye but nka idea behind no ene say nka Ghana ye pesika na ye discover bibia na ye di akohyem bi ye ne abrofo na contribute ne ye akere pepepe sika ne ba ya akere pepepe gold ne ba ya akere pepepe fa na me so me fa going forward no this should be the thinking.
Fortunately, Dr. Dufo Tiase, we have to bring Dr. Dufo back because he's the originator of the idea. Now you just said, Doc, yeah, quite be how bet me, yeah, because they're okay in their dog. And you see at now, my bro, from the it's just bad. But Doc, my member because me see a better also yampa next week. Say into budget, you bet me and says your work as a budget where any that's all budget, a 24-hour budget, a bet me, my hopes at least for now there. You bet me the any out so you bet me the watch no.
Okay, and you foresee the United Cranny Monty Cranny. If you have budget now, say or free in cranny no answer. I saw at 10 cranny. And the budget we no air stability budget. And until I watch expenditure by 10 billion, so the inflation better than exchange rate better than fiscal deficit better than na a canon so code and be and until I said there's not much transformational agenda in this budget. In fact, almost 24-hour economy a game changer no. Or can 2 sentences in the budget. The whole program is not in the budget. The 24-hour economy. Until be a amount for 24-hour economy now, be a 2026, 2027 going. I want to be able, but this year part there. You any dramatic transformation because was 6 Kenny into your cutting the coach according to his way. Got a castle 10 billion. Me who be that, sir? Me who be that? We say we castle 10 billion. Send the budget, you know, we castle 10 billion. The budget we pay there just stability. And a human kitchen also there was so by chassis. Ebi a kokon ketenkete bron ketenkete eni omo a ankran nyuma ketenkete no de omo hope e wo budget yi mu enyuma kese ndi omo hope wa ne se bi a tax yi free ho ene exchange rate ne begina ene interest rate be back from ho no omo hope e wo ba se o pese aban na nka se ye bibi boom I bet transform the economy. Ama jobs abapa there. And maybe I train next year budget because this year budget na do be di no kra wache so. Enti
Yeah.
adwubrel budget.
Adwubrel budget. Dog, mama na wati bebre. In fact, every day be I know Becca say be oh boy me etin sem na say, but this gold issue we there. Me person either say me no meet no na ye be fa no personal project or say ye dede won. There's no reason why.
Next week as light. We see we are any next week as light.
I see I'm all doom so be any
Be any. I can't go no because look, say the media houses in Ghana be my dean no mentiase. I was say obia sorry near body this if I'm not best at it. They be able to figures in baba. You better come one sem sa come say be best sir. Only say my friends they do from extractive man. I say extractive.
No, but a good cause on my friends, sir, because it just doesn't make sense. Say kwesi broni be no they acquire roads when you chrome or they acquire development or mukom they are building generational wealth near their
tax.
Just
betting tax. So, but I never be so budget on my near Ajepa, yes, free sanitary pad. No, okay, social intervention programs in the bois here for them or for Mokai Hono dear, and no dear, Abana Shemukina, free SHS canon, or child to her, school feeding, or tomb, capitation grant, or to another, a bar banabaso. I think I am a crab ball, President Kufada Basu said, what tomb. President Mama Zusabetum, and the a boom meeting about so my idea said. At least or man in your cry. Nay, yet the boy here for him about 4. They say, oh, we are here and answer about new class, you now which means your school fees, and yeah, how be Obabeko school free, sir, could see university first year. Obabeko school, sir, free, sir, could see university first year. And so this cabbage your school fees, and yeah, I did be how be sanitary party, almost say be free. Tuniska the toss sanitary party, Uniska the toy, and I'm our back ready. Obanko school be free. And I kind of sense.
And also I support a president. My idea from the first term, no, buy no. Yeah, that idea came from free sanitary pad, no. Oh, yes, mama buy first, no, they buy no so that's a good one for him.
Yeah, it's a good one. And community in sense sanitary pad any Adriana or I'm Canadian. Yen locally produced. Yen for local production. And they say Yempe company, Yempe local, I'm sure sanitary pad company be a local ones. These are local ones, no. I buy no munko contracts. Yen crass sanitary pad and then Cabaya new grasses and pa. Yen no way man Nianche. Adriana ebedi, a bra ebedi, more ebedi, tomatoes, pepper, cooking oil, in your ma, a locally produced. So be a farmer, and so Becca said, may ye bray, there's ready market for me. Mayor rice, there's ready market for me. Mayor tomatoes, there's ready market for me. Tomatoes in from emperor. I buy babeto, or the acquire journey. I'm a school feeding program. The marriage, the marriage between school feeding and local production. Boy, I'm a second swat now or mine.
Dog, I mean, in fact, that was the idea. President Kufuor time no do school feeding, but that was the idea. Say, be for and I major coach Kwashiga. That was his main idea. So kofa Israel for buy so mo kromo to desert so mo do tinko fa sa o mo eyini bi mebo ba wa unim e meji ano masa kofa China for toast tin tomatoes any China for mo no masa dey be they say Burkina for na they okay no be na Burkina for here so we have to do it because we are in a better position chain Burkina for cry.
Yes
you don't get back to us next week. In fact oil only gold need there.
We have to.
Because when our project and the way we are very passionate because me assure say we kasa no kra na ma to force and you know 3% no. Kasa no ti just say they aye na mfaso abaso but we have to do it more. Say the buy betimi aye cost sharing, any production sharing,
COVID-19 so mo woni I am for ba is if you be fetch out ka so mo mu fi Ghana for mo munyi. Because you pesca the idea Juma or mem. Munyai at you for open put you bounce on the sober to why? Moon on fanya a Juma for on fan share free SHS when I saw fan share health on fan see hospital. Now area ya could school free, ya free.
Yo. Doc, me that's it. Me Yankopon sha won sha pa.
Well,
Me we our time. And so that's it bebre. Dr. Edu Usu sa ko de chira de University of Ghana Legon Economics Department. Inti abeko US for case no so but this is a very very good and na doc they might COVID-19 mamu yi nkebe ya aban fanko ye agenda 111. No fanko si hospitals na tumi aboa Ghana my because we need it. We need hospitals no. But I say free pad na buying this is a good one. This is a stability budget. Since the budget we are very good. A budget a Bema Ghana the stability we need because over the years you ensure that stability but it's good. But say last year no Ghana unicorn and 5.7. This year crying no 5. But the thing is that also do one your gold sector. Ghana is number money. You to know mona mo pa bro cha kwat 19 makofa lo adwene mo ne Ghana embassy for na ba no. Ghana, yes, you're number 1 producer of gold. And so says can in Abrofo de ko the higher profit ko mukrum. $43 billion. Start su. This is the start crying. Ya namni ye yezu ye shirado. These are the questions we must ask MPs. Why is it that Abrofo no making 43 billion? We are 3 billion IMF. It just doesn't make sense. Me a mathematician, but it doesn't make sense. Into campaign as I say no that we must yen to your oil no yen to your gold ni more money in free because yen to me yes and boys nam Ghana no more nom red yes a tablet be about say unim red and a Ghana phone call anum more nom red red. How can we continue to do this? In the end, way just you may they were live on OK 101.7 FM and Mr. George Ebu Bright Ebu Penny Ghana Embassy DC and na ye mame attorney Janelle Oklu and so yeah lawyer kese US because Donald Trump teaching California. There's another aspect that he shared down here. The other aspect that we haven't looked at is that or see all my visa for graduates for a friend H1B visa into what we work graduates who degree or masters no. This is an opportunity and no yes I they are recruiting people already graduates. So me tell I'm afraid Janelle say on umbra no mechirim so that also will be now because any oil in abroad for the coin was yes your says can be by mine. We need the money and so far Ghana for our broche the foreign remittances that they bring to Ghana no it's a lot of money. Since Ghana and comfortable broche no they are making no majority of that money comes back to Ghana economy and yes I can't without that money, we'll be dead. And I have Mr. Brightable, so or be joining here very soon. Auntie Janelle, good evening.
Good evening to you. Thank you so much for having me on. And I enjoyed listening to the professor while I was waiting to come on. To see how much.
Were you surprised as me that they are making all this money from the gold?
If we were only making enough money from our own gold, in fact, we wouldn't even have this many people wanting to come abroad. No. If we could have more jobs, more opportunities for people at home. So absolutely. Yeah. I really appreciated what he had.
And it's sad that we don't even we don't prioritize conversations like this because usually it's very political. So there's always like a power battle between NDC and MPP. We don't even prioritize. These are the issues.
Oh yes,
and the politicians are also swayed by popularity. So things that they will do to get themselves in that approval rating is what they are worried about.
Right. So excellent what you are doing, bringing on the academics. The people who are not swayed by politics. So
thank you. Let's ask you about. But before we go to the H1B visas, because it's also very important what Donald Trump is doing. That now, if you have a degree, you're in a good position to get that H1B visa and get a job. Because it's mainly
we'll talk about the H1B process, but we
need that education. We need that education. But this ICE deportation, what's the status now?
It's happening. But the thing is, the truth of the matter is, it is not as many people. They are not deporting as many people as Trump had hoped to. In fact, they have had a lot of shakeups within ICE. The person who was appointed as the head of ICE has been demoted because he hasn't been able to deport enough people. So the thing is, it's difficult. I mean, they don't have the manpower to be able to keep up with the numbers that they want. But sadly, the truth is, yes, people are being deported. People are being deported. In fact, the most recent one, and this one is in the last week, they've been sending people letters, people who have denied immigration cases, giving them the offer that you can self-deport.
Yes, I hear the Trump has even set up
Leave on your own.
an app that you should go on your own.
Mm-hmm. So the thing is, they're telling people, oh, if you go on your own, you can come back at a later date. But the thing is, we don't know that, right? We don't know, because Congress has not passed any specific laws about if you deport. So be careful of any type of arrangement. You know, it's just like when the US government told the civil servants, oh, resign from your position and we'll give you 8 months pay. In fact, it hasn't panned out like that. So don't believe any promises that they are giving. If somebody, you know, desires to stay in the US, they should fight for, you know, the opportunity to stay.
So, but Mutio, I think you know, as some more cannot say they are throw letter say Kofi Amenko. Oh no, your lawyer to be kind of baby. Men answer because Congress na immigration law no more ye laws. Enti Trump going to mean catch us why app or so why app nti wa call app no so register na call chrome and kwansa. Ubetimi a fight here. Sika no more the 43 billion no nyina ka no mabegiko. Let's take some of the money so enfan be build the Ghana mine. Na Ghana mine so nye ye. Nti twen answer. Don't be in a rush so Becca say oh cause they are still deporting people. In fact, you're sacking penny phone because someone checking for more. It's very interesting. It's very, very interesting. Mm-hmm. So Angie, we'll come back to the H1B visa. But Mr. Ebu, now you work with the Ghana embassy. So can you tell us the more and more embassy, or you know the Ghanaians in America? Can you tell us like so far the number of people? Do you even have a data about the number of people on deportation list?
Yes. So far, no. I for the since Trump came to power, I support the approach here. Who say Ghanaians are not a target. Okay.
Oh no!
Yes.
Say that again. Say that again.
Ghana are not the target, and data that we have. Okay, there are only 136 Ghanaians in detention all over America, and I can confidently say, deported Ghana Nibia. Since this law came to effect, and I say this action came to effect, we don't have any record of any Ghanaian being deported since Trump came to power. Yes, we
but
have.
You are saying say they told you in their communication say Ghana for on targets.
Yes.
Oh wow! Oh that's
yes. And data shows say our statistics show say no Ghanaian has been deported since they took this action. At least since January 7th. There are Ghanaians in detention, all right. Our consular officers communicate with them. They seek to their welfare. Reported to the Ghana embassy. Anybody who gets arrested, the first thing they ask you is your home country. And see, they ask that so that when they need your travel documents, they can come to the embassy and get the travel documents. And see, so far, no, according to the data we have, no, we check on them.
Oh, Mr. Abu. Okay, Mr. Abu is with the Ghana embassy, so the camera no call. We're picking it back from school.
Okay,
we'll make contact with him again. But I don't know if are you surprised by this? He said that
I'm very surprised by this. I'm very surprised by this. Definitely, I know the Ghana embassy, they are keeping track of the Ghanaians. Absolutely. And if he says no Ghanaians have been deported, I'll say none of my clients have been deported. But if he says no Ghanaians have been deported, he has the fact. But the one thing that personally I question is this idea that, the Trump administration telling them Ghana is not the target. Because my understanding is no country should be the target. Right? It should not be that they are seeking to go after the people from any particular country. Rather, anyone who is in the US illegally, what they have said is that they want to prioritize people with criminal records. Okay, what they have said is they want to prioritize the people with the criminal records for removal first. That doesn't mean that if you don't have a criminal record, you are safe. They can come after you. But the thing is, the government, they have limited resources, right? There are over 11 million, 12 million people possibly in the US without papers. They don't.
Wow, 11 million.
Yes, they
That's a
don't
big number.
possibly have enough manpower to go after 11 million people. So they said they want to start with the people with criminal records. But the thing is, what they say and what they do is sometimes a different thing. It could be that they go into a particular place, looking for somebody, who has the criminal record. But once they are in there, when they see other people and they are asking other people for papers and they don't have, they'll kind of do a general raid, a sweep, and take multiple people. So yeah, all of this to say, I think if you are someone and you don't have your papers, you should be concerned.
You should be concerned. I think that recently in Virginia, that's what they did. There was a warehouse, they came, picked some people. I think there were a few people that they had targeted, but they swept other people too in addition and took all of them. Now can't assembly and away in a tekoye. Minister woke of our bantino.
Okay. Yeah, not my fear office. I'm say a debakwa. I said Trump the Yamana said be before Yamana but Obama time you deported more people than even any president in history. Well, this is not something new. It's been an ongoing and the target here, most immigrants are not committing crime. Those who have misdemeanors and crimes involving moral turpitude and felony charges. I'm not a target, and yet will be a nevisa so a wanko. It's been ongoing. Trump there, as a dead on Romuya Keke, and I say increasing rates on immigrants. And a man, but with Ghanaians there, we're talking about our own people. It hasn't affected our people like that. Okay. Make us Yamia Domara. Yes.
Now, my say help. Modema Ghana for no say Mwabena Modema Ghana for no. Say Mwabi or Modema Ghana for Nana. Or more, so 136 now, I will say, or more deportation list or no. And will be a for be a yam shishano ni paper. Send anti Junel can or mobile do no be and you can our target. I wouldn't paper no so yam vessel. Is there any help a Ghana embassy Modema Ghana for no?
Well, I will say Ghana embassy there, we represent the government here. To be back, how when your charter, this is the work authorization. Or Ghana embassy, and to will be a work authorization. So as I say, and there's nothing. There, it's really boy Ghana for say, will be a bit of people say, we a Ghana ni, you basically to Nippon warfare, a channel, his human rights are not being trampled on. Oh, you never cast a young okay. Then the rights, what you maintain the rights as they are supposed to be. But a Juma some dear, Ghana embassy cannot guarantee I obey Juma and I say, yet me emu ubikro mraso, say, Dipano Sonia work authorization. A year Juma, Ghana embassy cannot guarantee that for the person.
The Buddha to mean young crater be a mo be a say be a woman work permit and combo facilitated process and can much and Kohako Crano, Ghana embassy mutu mean no magan in Libya.
And yet, so long as I'm concerned, be BS anyhow. Say be a quenya be or lawyers in the bit much. I mean about we say Janelle.
Auntie Janelle.
Yes. Auntie Janelle, no bit much a quenya, the bit my fast in your work authorization. But the embassy no intimate and guarantee work authorization for any Ghanaian living here. And it's like easy. Go back room, I'll buy a cat as we call Ghana embassy. Been here before. They are too mama.
Mr. Bumesa ba wo bi because mpese ye
Yo.
hwɛ H1B no so menim sɛ wo driving ti ana mpese mema too much pressure but as you know when now you are the attorney
Okay.
can you tell us about this but anyway do you know any are you aware of working with the embassy because I know the Ghanaian Lawyers Association have been giving education to
Okay.
Ghanaians who are in distress, those who are
Mhm.
panicking and all that. Are you aware of any what Mr. Ebu is saying? Any help from the embassy because people are panicking. I know everybody
Okay.
can pay for a lawyer.
I'll say this. It's not easy to get work authorization with the Ghana embassy. What Mr. Ebu means is it is if someone can get a diplomatic visa, okay, diplomatic visa to show that, oh, okay, we are here in some capacity assisting with the embassy. Of course, they are the actual people who are diplomats working, but then they have different people. They have drivers, they have cooks, they have grounds people. So it could be that there are some few people who, through some connection, you can get them to offer you a job, okay, in some capacity in the embassy. But the thing is that that's very few. Very few people can get that type of position where, oh, I I'm doing some job for the embassy and therefore that is my status. Yeah.
Okay. So let's go to the H1B visa. This
Okay.
people are excited about it too
Okay.
because Trump initially he said he was going to cancel the DV visa lottery. So already I think what I heard is from last year to this year, those who won the visa lottery have all not been processed. Their fate is not. Do you know any updates on that?
Okay, and which is I'll say this, which is horrible. Because that's one of the frustrations of this current administration is I too had heard about this thing about canceling the visa lottery, but the idea was supposed to be that you know how they do visa lottery in October each year, that coming October there will be no visa lottery coming October. But for the people who have already been selected, it's one thing to say we are no longer doing visa lottery. That's one thing. But for the people who have already been selected, by law, it's been allocated, okay, for them to be able to come to the US until September of this year. So that one, I've not heard that the people who were selected.
No, but people have been denied already. There were people who won in 2023 who never got the chance to come.
But the people who won in 2023, the embassy was not issuing them the visa or not giving them interviews.
They didn't even go through the process, the interview process. They never heard back.
That's one.
So I don't know if you are saying, because you remember some time ago, people sued. Some people filed a class action and sued the federal government.
Yes.
Can these people, especially Ghanaians, there are lots of Ghanaians,
Okay.
can they sue? Can they sue the government because they've won visa lottery? They've been written to that they've won, but nobody has taken them through the process. Some started the process and the process was truncated. Can they sue the US government?
Okay, what I'll say this. The one that I am aware that they stopped the process, those were the people who were coming through at the time that the COVID bans happened. Because what happened is each year when people win, they have until September the following year to process and come into the country. But what happened is they had banned travel. So then, even though the visas had been issued to them, they were not able to come to the US by September, by the deadline. Those are the people who sued. And in fact, the government gave them an extension to be able to come past September. That is the one I'm aware of. That is the one I'm aware of. Now, this one's, you are telling me that people who won, because the Trump and his, it's only since, it's only been 2 months now. It's only been 2 months now that
it feels like forever.
It should not have affected, I know, I'm so tired already. So tired. It should not have affected the people from 2024. the 2023, those people should have been able to get their visas by September, this past September ending, because in all accounts, Biden administration, they were still allowing the winners to come. So it was only those people who are affected by the COVID ban who they missed their deadline. And in fact, a federal judge allowed them extra time to come
So
in.
now tell us about the H-1B visa, because all we ordinary people know is the people who are graduates, people who have degrees. Because I remember what President Trump was saying in the campaign period. He said they want quality, they want qualified people. So people who have degrees, who have expertise, the nurses, the doctors, those people, he's ready to allow them to come and work, because America will benefit from them. And we have a lot of young men like that in Ghana.
Definitely.
We just spoke about the economy. The economy is growing, but the young men who are skillful, who have knowledge, who have very good certificates, like the IT people. We have a lot of IT young men in Ghana who have degrees.
And I already know there are a number of Ghanaian teachers who are coming to the US and working. So it's true. So let me tell you about H-1B. As you said, H-1B is for skilled professionals. So professionals meaning people who have at least bachelor's level. So the graduates, that's who the H-1B is for. But the thing to keep in mind is H-1B, you do have to have an employer sponsor. You have to have an employer sponsor in the US. So unfortunately, H-1B is not something that you can just apply yourself. Okay. It's not like visa lottery where you can go and, let me put myself in for the H-1B lottery. And one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you is the H-1B lottery is going on right now.
It's going on right now.
It started on Friday. It's going on now, and it will continue until Monday, March 24th. So it's not long at all. It's only until Monday, March 24th is the H-1B lottery. So it's happening now. So I want your listeners to know. And the thing though is you cannot enter yourself. You cannot enter yourself. Rather, the US employer who wants to hire you, the employer will register on the government website, and then they list the people that they want to bring in. So for each person, they have to have information about, passport information, and then also information about their education. Yeah. So all of that to say, if your listeners have, because it's true, visa lottery is ending. Visa lottery is ending. So
this is the best bet if you want to travel.
For the people who are graduates, and it doesn't have to be like a big company. Yes, if you have a job with a big job offer with a big company, that's great. But even small employers too, so long as the position with the company is for a professional, even the small employers.
But how would the Ghanaian young man who is sitting in an internet cafe or somewhere, how would they find an employer to employ them within this window? Because we have a 2 or 3 week window.
So
how would they find an employer?
We didn't get to talk earlier, so they'll know.
Yeah, because I know a lot of these nurses, midwives, pharmacists, they are in high demand abroad. But how would they identify and maybe a small clinic that will employ them and say, look, I'm willing to file this for you right now?
Okay. Few thoughts. One is even if someone can get in this window before 24th of March, let's keep this in mind for next year, because this is something that happens March every year. March every year. So unlike visa lottery, diversity visa lottery, this one H-1B is not going away. H-1B will continue to be here. So keep in mind for next year. Then one is definitely online. Okay, where Americans look for jobs online is also where foreign workers can find jobs online. An example is the website Indeed. Indeed. That is where a lot of US workers, US employers post jobs online. Also, we are dealing with professionals. These are people with degrees. So many of them are already on LinkedIn. Okay, many of them are already on LinkedIn. So they can be looking for job postings on LinkedIn. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And then finally, I'll say, especially when it comes to people in the healthcare sector, I know that there are different organizations, like one that I've worked with in the past, Omni Global Solutions. They are helping like degree nurses and healthcare professionals to find opportunities abroad.
I want to translate this because it's very important to me, because the anti-generic can say immigration attorneys. So say every March be a H1B visa no more. Inti antese DV visa lottery and the be ho atramp on yi. And no because target wa degree ni wa we very skillful nti no. And no a good opportunity. The here say obepe employer US near company obefa wa adwuma mu. And I say no so today easy and then global village. Internet ninti na mfa ho sa wote Ghana, na mfa ho sa wote Dubai, na mfa ho sa wote America. Uko Indeed, LinkedIn, and also global solutions. Omu nyina omu recruiting for especially global solutions for omu de omu target degree nurses. Enti wa wo degree a wo ye nurse mid wa in the sciences areas no. Wo ho no target LinkedIn every day bi obeko bi adwuma ho. Wo de try apply na edwumero ne fa wa no be apply ama wo na oye the here so say oye degree holder oye highly skillful and one no na also pass it through. That's an easier route out the befa, because say they can div the Trump so betwam into the 1 year to div visa lottery no so this year na next year obetwam nti keep your hopes measured so that emma bribri and emma broken heart, because obetwam. But the H1B1, and then there are lots of young men that work Ghana baby with degrees. So this one is an easier option for you. Call LinkedIn or say LinkedIn Indeed. Indeed. Yes, say, oh, they call internet. So just Google Indeed. The app, will download your bones and you might be you look at the qualification and apply to as many jobs as possible. At least one of them will call you back or contact you, send you an email and say that they've seen we say near day what you say, and do your own due diligence so that scammers also and take advantage of you there. So Auntie Gina, let me ask you about once the employer takes you applies for, is it something that you can do?
Okay, no. So when it comes to H1Bs, is entirely employer driven. Okay, the employer, they are the ones who register on the USCIS website. They list who they want to sponsor to come in when the person is selected in the lottery. So it is a lottery. The reason there's a lottery is that there's a limit. It's 85,000 per year. Okay,
and 85,000 people per year.
Yes, 85,000.
That's still a big number.
But the thing is, there over, like last year, there were over 200,000 who applied. So the same thing. It's not as many as visa lottery because you have to have a degree. But yeah, more than twice as many people are trying for these H1Bs. So once the person is selected, then they have a period of time. From the time you are selected, the employer has 90 days, 3 months, in which to submit all your documents, apply for you. And then, once everything goes through, then you'll be coming to the US in October. So that's the other thing about H1B, is a select time frame. Every year, the lottery is March. Every year is March. And then the application period for people who are selected is April to June every year. April to June. And then the people come in October. So there are some similarities with diversity visa, but this is a much shorter time frame.
Yeah. And I think that's what makes this one very exciting, because it's a shorter time to know at least your fate. You know that you won't get this or you'll get it. So
right. Yeah. Because this lottery that's going on right now, like I said, is until March 24th. By March 31st, you know if you were selected or not. So everything happens. So yeah, by March 31st, you know if you've selected or not.
But is the degree the only qualification that you need? Is it if somebody has an maybe HND, are they qualified? Is that the only one that you have to have, or maybe you need a master's?
Sure, it needs to actually be a bachelor's degree or equivalent to a US bachelor's. And the thing is, it's true, generally American bachelor's degrees are 4 years, 4 years bachelor's. Some countries it's 3 years bachelor's. If it's only 3 years, then it's not sufficient, because when you know that 90-day period when the employer has to submit all your documentation, immigration will look at the degree, they'll look at the coursework, the number of years of the degree, the various courses, and so it has to be equivalent to US bachelor's. So oftentimes, you know, obviously somebody who has a master's abroad, it will be equivalent to US bachelor's, because they'll take your master's plus your bachelor's education, and yeah, it'll be equivalent.
Then I think that for people who are interested, at least for now, you can start doing the compilation of your document. Even better still, you can even go to West and start doing an evaluation of your certificates, so that is there.
Yes.
And you have something to show that my degree is equivalent to this in the US. Don't wait till you have applied before you panic and they tell you that we want an evaluation of your certificate before you be panicking all over the place. It's better that you do it now.
Right.
I
agree.
So, let me bring, you know, I'll come back to you, but let me bring Mr. Ebu. Me person be mo sa I said enya omo pay this issue about students, and I'll let Auntie know, because I know she deals with a lot of students who F1 visa for. So, you know, there are also students almost panic. And no Ghana embassy more hotline be amo de boa almost be here more. At least some of the young number and crata mobi, and they were emphasizing no yet. But like obi here more say advice, guidance, because in confusion the musu is coming kopo, because when you say be so panic. More be embassy no so information session be amo yama Ghana for no yam shishu omona beti means a honey yebenyamwa. Your embassy, at least your country no owes us a duty to inform us.
Yes, so long as you are a Ghanaian in America, the embassy is your home. Our doors are open to them every time. Even if we don't have the professionals on site, we are capable of contacting professionals who can give that kind of advice. There are various students groups. Say your graduate students association, your students or the associations of various schools. Just last week, you called John Hopkins. They called Nagreti Ghanaian Students Association. We found a whole lot of medical personnel in school. And see, what we're trying to build is a skills bank, so that we get a database of various professionals with their skills. And see, about say we here advice over here. We can refer such a person to such a professional. Number one, we are in association with the Ghana Lawyers Association. Just say, I'm a president, Dr. Lawyer Furi. Obi apa no here legal advice. I'm a phone, not fair Lawyer Furi. Basically, my nipa say I be whom. Also, Omra, and their doors are always open. Forums, our Ghana Embassy. I'm about several times. I'm organizing forums. In fact, Ambassador Biaba, Ghanaian Lawyers Association, Ombechiano, Oboda Omwadi, Omi involved. Ghana for they don't show up.
Ghana for my embassy.
It's a good opportunity to interact. They don't show up. Well, I said culturally Ghana for this year. Yeah, now we shake it. That is the challenge. But
if you almost feel embassy no more shada more almost because matters at the end. Almost say more you crowd see your doors are open. Do a matum credo. Ubedu a question says security crowd without crowns and what do and wow.
They say, Asana Babano, only will be back answer. You can't just walk in. So I say, and then Kadibia, you have to come with a purpose. Sibia, one day, Mr. Bright Akasa, Mr. Bright is a bra, one no appointment. But you can't just walk in and say, hey, me here help, and then I broke, me ba Amejiska, so I made Danka, me Dimitria, me ba embassy. Say, Ubabano, na no Biakasa. Now I'm out of time, Sebra. Until back gate, I know. Now, also me review as I see. Near friend as I see. Say, who expect you be? As I see, sorry, or so my ombra. Sanoba, yes, I dear. Your macron so, sir. Can it be a deep papa baby? So embassy. What I say,
The director tell me more embassy, no moon the number of Munim Madessia Ghana for America. Would do more data be a chance Ghana for America near Munim.
Well, say Ubia Bar, all register with the embassy website. Omo full say, ana bebre say, hey, ye ho koma ye nin krata. So, enti ebi no estro say, omo ba information cry outside. So, enti they are not willing. Yes. They are not willing.
And also they say blame me almost because almost say embassy for ni bisu your kokon sa uka ya do be ko onu tu ni nkrata ti onu no kokon register so o ye Ghana ni na something na
well anyway and sister but and sister say me give say obi wa dwembone say what turn in so much say obi your information or the ma eyes for say hey go for me nu yan say bi wa o so mo ni nkrata aha no botie me nyini say
ICE deportation started there were Ghanaians who were saying you better report here and call for na bi mo kan say bi mo report you omunu anum Ghana for nti e bi an kofo kan so mo nyina so
well say obi be bibi sa na o nyina so obi o ha na edi kunu agya no no ahira dwum say be me de na kofie obi ono ba bi agya no o so ba yi me de ko ana personal so they say na meti hai na Ghana ni bibi ni so ni kata me ni asem bia so bi mi ko ka jai say aso say one ko it's a personal issue and ma yes ano
Okay. And obi cross send the message by Alex Anderson or see mo phones na Ghana embassy no cry enye adwuma o fro be fret till that kingdom come obi amfa nti mo aso mo issue o embassy o mu nuanom Ghana for no
me kan ho asem kakra ajeba akwa person dey to join say you were working and closing hours and the US time difference no e obi say about 4 mapon ekofi obi o Texas 4 na mapono 3 o'clock obi was my friend embassy obi amfa well time difference no one and secondly you observe US and Ghana public holidays. Ghana holidays in Kwajuma, US holidays in Kwajuma. And to offer those days Ghana embassy obi amfa so and year one and working hours no working hours here 9:30 to 4 o'clock. Until Fred, it will have to say a Chaba Frag about 8 I know I started Fred. About Fra 9 o'clock, why better 10 calls, so I give up. Or say Frag and embassy will be out. And see, and no, and a man of Bassa, and the pastor of course, the bear 5 to a course. But a bit of Fra, say, obviously, actually, a young come well. What boy year? Oh, blah, and I'm free here, and I'm some back on a son of Beckham, who be repeating the host, so it's a course therefore a big graduate. Well, and see, or to them, baby, and a bassa, but we try as much as say, if I will be our call, they may take care of. We also have email. Who send the email info@GhanaEmbassyDC.org. Email there, say, instant but you come back you reply. You say me coffee. But me here because now me reply to emails. The we or questions we are both so important. I reply to emails so even when I'm moved. People are much better. May reply to about 20 emails. Me tell me no now workload no so see. Dear friend on Sanka.
Obviously, I can tell say one I will say Ghana embassy is their home. People should come. It means there was some more accommodating time differences no to more West Coast near the end. It is explanation now they man any excuse more obi issue or reason no abante ba ko so Georgia sa working hours no be free no na onyamo until some more accommodate other people or more other states omo ne mu DC East Coast no time no Asia because omo so mu yamwa
well say accommodate nipa no I want to see your website you did most of the things questions are about app for answers. First of all, nipa do na afrebu say or visa status. And the system in such a way say a passport or application or passport de beduwa. They are sending email say yansaka. Wow. It will automatic email as soon as we receive your visa and your passport and application in our system. You approve so unya email. You may release so unya email. And one of the questions we have made provision for that. For dual citizenship, all the information is on the website. Visa, visa a page one, all information, fees, everything is on there. And to cater for everybody, 24/7, we have made most of the information available on the website. And the questions are, website, but when you're a friend, you have to answer them anyway.
So when you say Crawford, so you be an internet survey and a website survey or bit me. A lot of people don't know that too. But me say, information about say more data about Ghana for do America now. More data no.
Debbie, I must admit to say we don't have the data because they don't even register. Said Nipa don't register. And Utimenya database, but people don't register. They don't make themselves known. Nipa embassy krana emails amenya of America almost making themselves known in no more than 10 in 3 years. So I saw the email say I'm new to America. This is my email address. This is my contact. In Dubai 3.
I see. Well, na a bit slow na wa kano. But I don't know if you want me or US government or because they go through the embassy visas and so on. So it should be that data should be somewhere. You should be able to get the data from either US or buying. Let's say be a data protection. So almost because they will not share that information with us. Ghana government as well, and also bet me a possibility because I don't see an issue. But my mama, Auntie Janelle, so can you tell us about the students because they're already Ghanaian? Auntie Janelle, as an immigration lawyer, do you know the number of Ghanaian students in America?
I don't know the precise number of students, but I will say this: for a country like Ghana, that is actually relatively a small country, we are consistently in either top 10 of international students in the US, or some years Ghana has been top 5 of international students in the US. Small country like Ghana.
Why? What's fueling that?
No, it just means there are that many Ghanaian students who are studying in the US. There are that many Ghanaian students who are studying in the US.
Genuinely studying, or is
I hear you. But I'll say this: students who have F1 student visa and are in the US. But let's talk about international students. What?
So for there are people already in the system who have F1 who, because of their ICE rates, are also panicking.
Yes.
Because that with the student visas, most of them are allowed to work just 20 hours. So usually what happens is that they take other people's papers
20 hours, and even the 20 hours is on
it has
campus.
to be on campus. So people work off campus and they use other people's documentation. So they are also panicking. Is there any help for those people? What can they do?
Okay, no, I understand why they are panicking, because it's not just the students who are working on the side or under the table, as we call it here, but also people who arrived in US on student visa. Sometimes then once they are here, they don't have the funds to attend, or maybe they start attending, but then the funds aren't there for the following semester and they drop out or they stop. Yeah. They have reason to be concerned. I'll say this. I guess I don't have as rosy or optimistic a view as Mr. Ebu does. Maybe because I'm working on this side. I'm worried, and I think they have every reason to be concerned, because the other thing too I feel about these ICE raids and all is the administration. They've only been in at this point for less than 2 months. Not everything happens the first month or the second month. It will be rolled out. It will be rolled out. So maybe right now they are focusing on the criminals or whatever, but eventually they will also come for people who are not properly registered in the CVIS system. The CVIS system is the system that the different colleges and universities in the US, the international students are there. So if one semester, you fail to take a full course load, or you drop out one semester or whatever, the international student advisor at the school, they notify CVIS.
Oh, really?
that's
So immediately immigration knows that you have stopped schooling.
Oh, yes, yes. But that's what I
Wow.
mean is it's a manpower thing. So for now, they've not had the manpower to come after people. But that's a concern that I have is for the international students that one reason or another have dropped out. Another one is the international student overstay, where perhaps they even completed their degree, but if they were not able to transition to H1B, like we are talking about this H1B, transition to a different visa, then that one too is a problem. It's a problem. Yeah.
So what do you advise them to do for those people who are stuck like that? What do they do? Because I know there are some Ghanaian students who are forcing themselves to get married. They are doing all sorts of things. People are panicking, so they are just trying anything at all.
Right. One, I'll say this. That's why I put my contact there, and we tell them, contact us. You don't want to, there are other immigration lawyers, but you need to get proper advice rather than just sitting there and oh no. Another thing I would advise is maybe a group of students, like at a school or a group of friends, to get together and maybe pool your resources and say, hey, let's the group of us go and do a consultation to find out what recourse do we have, what is a different status we can change to, is there a way for us to be reinstated, to basically plan ahead and don't just sit there like a sitting duck until immigration comes for you.
So Attorney General, can you share your number again so that I can put it on the screen for people who need help?
Sure. My number is 1650
1651
no 1650 275
50 26
275
okay 275
5656.
okay 5656.
Yeah, and that comes when you use the phone. It's 1650 ask Lojo. 1650 ask Lojo. That is correct.
Is it correct? Okay.
That's
so right. Attorney General, the number near. So if you're a student or America and now say oh you're interested in H1B visa now you can't want them no. I employer and be foul. No, I apply amount. Now the new juma, especially more nurses no, midwives no more masters near their PhD for no card there nine back crazy council because most of them no more PhD you are overqualified in poop. And most of the schools, community colleges near the teachers are more mature are there. So you have an advantage there. And don't lose guard if you they apply when but when so just apply and see where where God will take you. You never know, baby. The opportunity will come from. But Attorney General, can you give a generally like what advice would you give to people? Because I mean, traveling out of your home country is another wahala altogether. I always say that I used to travel just for vacation 1 month, then I come back to Ghana. And when I travel this one, because my family is here, so I will have to shuttle between the two. Then I realized, look, there's a whole level of depression that comes with even moving. It's another I call it withdrawal symptoms, and because you are not you don't know the system, so adjusting is another thing altogether. You are not used to what is it. So what advice would you give to people who are uncomfortable, those who just came, those who have been here for like maybe a couple of months, the students who don't know what, and those who people come in and they say they don't have Nkrata, they are now doing Nkrata. This American thing too, it takes a while. What would be your advice to all those people?
Okay, all right. My main advice is plan early. You are better off coming up with a plan or a strategy early on or in the beginning than waiting until the end, because once you're at the end, your options are limited. Even, for example, with the people who are here on student visa now, we shared my phone number. Contact us now. Talk to us now. Don't wait until you are graduating next month or you are to the end of your OPT and now, hey, I have 1 month left in America. What do I do? What do I do? Now your options are limited. Okay, so contact us early. So, for example, people who are currently students, the next step for you is to apply for your OPT, optional practical training, so that at least you can get your work permit for 1 year. But even with OPT, what I would advise, if people would contact us early on, is the major you have, that will determine how long your OPT. If you have STEM major, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, they get 3 years of work permit, whereas everybody else gets 1 year. So there's an advantage to being a STEM major. So that's also something that people should know, that okay, if I have the choice between this major or this major, let me go with the STEM so that I can get a 3 years work permit. Okay. So these things, plan early. Also, I'll give another thing is AGLA, Association of Ghanaian Lawyers in America. We are doing a conference call, all international students, next Tuesday from 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern time. So please tune in, have your friends tune in. We are doing a call specifically for the Ghanaian students in the US. Yes. So we'll be talking to the students.
I think it's very, very important that you're doing that for them, because like I'm saying that most of them are very young. They are teenagers or they are in their early 20s, and the panic doesn't even do anything for their studies. So, and some are here without their parents. Some students are here without their parents. So imagine you panicking in, like we say in Ghana, Obi mine. So you don't know anybody, you have no relatives, maybe you have an auntie, but your auntie herself doesn't have a crata, so she's afraid to
it's hard.
You have another uncle, your uncle too doesn't have a crata, so you are stuck between the devil and the deep blue sea. Where do you go? What do you do? So let me put the number on the screen again. So call Attorney General on the number in here. So it's 0. So if you're calling from this is for those who are in Ghana who are interested in the H1B visa, they have to prefix this with a 001, right?
Correct. Okay. So we start one with US country code. Okay. But yeah.
Into Ghana, and that's a friend now. Just say 001 1650 2755 656. Now our friend. So we are interested. Say nurses, no need or PhD or masters. You're interested in the H1B now. But start to say your research or LinkedIn. Any Indeed or say Juma Baby or start to apply. Then you can call them, then they can help you. But to start in next, because the window will close in March 24th. So I started that they are recruiting the H1B for no. It will close March 24th. But you can even start the process for next year, because every March be almost H1B for no skilled labor, skilled people. Yes. Once you have a master's and the ono Trump who are not because nimso be bedding be ama omo mine ha. Until I can person come back to Ghana embassy, but Mr. Bozo driving, so he's been even very accommodating with us. So Attorney General, any final thoughts before we go to the callers?
Okay. Hey, the callers. Oh, I'm so
you want to
I actually have to get off. I actually have to get off because we only had on my calendar.
I know. That's why I want any final thoughts so that I can let you go and then bring them.
Okay. Understood. Yeah. Okay. Final thoughts is that yes, it's true that right now the US government, the focus is enforcement, which is sending people outside the US. But the truth is, there are still lawful ways to come to the US. There are still lawful ways to remain in the US. One way is through employment. I feel that Ghana, we've got so many educated people in Ghana, educated, skilled people in Ghana. So let us explore more of those opportunities, such as this H1B visa for professional workers, educated, skilled, professional workers, and also for the students, people who are already in the US, they've managed to make it to the US on the student visa. It's not enough just to, oh, I've been approved for the student visa. That's it. No. It's only the beginning. I mean, you are grateful to God when you are approved for the student visa, but it's only the beginning, because you've got to plan and strategize for your future. So I encourage you to join us, reach out and join us for this call with AGLA, Ghanaian lawyers, on Tuesday, so we can talk for the international students.
I will be glad if I can get the link so that I can also share it with other students that I know. Yeah. Okay. But somebody just sent me a text that for those who are already on the H1B, who are interested in the H1B, there's also something called especially those who have master's degree. He said there's something called NIW. Yeah, National Interest Waiver Program. I think Mr. Ebu has spoken to me about it before, that the embassy is able to do something, take your papers to Ghana, sign it for you and bring it back or something like that.
Okay, let me tell you about NIW. NIW is actually a pathway to a green card, because the thing about H1B is H1B is a temporary visa. Okay, H1B is 6 years visa. Typically, when people are on H1B, then they apply for the green card. So it's a pathway. So the NIW is a green card process. It's called National Interest Waiver. It means that the work that you are doing is in the US national interest. So if someone can prove that their work is in the US national interest, they are able to petition to get a green card. So that is what NIW is. So it's not simply having the advanced degree, but you also have to show the government that your work is advancing America's national interest.
Okay. And at least with the commentary from President Trump, I mean, higher educated people are advancing, kind of, there's a high probability that when you're highly educated, you are advancing America's, purpose, at least government purpose. So it's related, it's slightly related to it. So because I mean, lack of knowledge, the Bible says my people perish, and I don't think that we want to perish if there's an opportunity. And that the interesting things, say other African countries take advantage of these things. So like Rwanda and other countries, Kenya, they all take advantage of it. But I think Ghanaians, we don't take advantage. But I like what lawyer Janelle was saying, that we are in top 10. Small country like Ghana.
As for Ghanaian students, but I feel like not enough of us know about the employment routes for permanent residents. So we need to talk more about that.
Yeah,
people know about marriage. People know about diversity visa lottery. But outside of that, more of us need to know about these employment routes to also getting a green card.
I think we can do a whole program on that one another time. If you
another time,
spare 1 hour of your time.
Yeah, we'll talk again.
If you spare me 1 hour of your time, we can do that, a whole 1 hour on employment routes to green card, because people don't know that. The student one is popular. That's why Ghana is in the number first top 5, top 10 list of schools. But that's impressive, though. That's impressive.
It is.
But the problem is, a lot of these Ghanaians who go to America, they don't come back home.
But that's the thing, is a lot of people, they think the student thing is really only temporary. It's just for school. But we need to talk about how you can stay in the US permanently, because the thing is, you come as a student, then the problem is, okay, what happens once I finish my degree? So
okay. So just this question from this young, because before I go to Theo, this young man said, do you need an IELTS when applying for H1B? I think the US government doesn't use that. Do you?
No. But they just, for applying for the H1B, you do need the degree evaluation. And as I said, H1B is a employer-driven process. So really, you can't do it yourself. The employer needs to submit you for the H1B. So that's why the job offer is so important.
Okay. Attorney General, thank you so much for joining us.
All right, thank you.
I know your time is expensive, so we can pay you if you bill us back. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Attorney General, immigration lawyer, with over 20 years experience in the immigration area, but Ottawa students more. But with the employment, a Juma who asem no kase Juma wa America. It is a Juma rano. Ebe file ama onkwade obenye Juma. Oma bie oma start say a Juma home lottery no. And also different from BV visa lottery no. See a Juma home lottery. And no na friend H1B visa lottery. Omo ye March all the way to March 24th. Omo yes I didn't know. So obenye Juma or LinkedIn any indeed or you may run a file ama no almost some a year process na month freno number na screen so no they will help you, they'll give you details near their branch will say I then you can't only student visa and student for 170 you can't employment you know so you're interested I do that so that on also bet me abwao that's what she does the area pa no I don't know so the want and thank you and I budget and son yeah they back has you know so yeah from budget to but the thing that also young people in so more money come yes kana abrofo no de ko abroche no $43 billion ni nyina e ko mama fa brako mama good evening
Sister Ifeami Chiao.
yeah Joso yenti we any talk
Me person care about the budget, no. 2024, the last budget for MPP, no. Who said a presidency budget, no. It was 300 million.
office of the president
Office of the president in for 300 million. And NDC for Bekache.
Are you quoting from the budget? Because I don't have 2024.
Oh yes,
no.
I was following it. Yes, I was following it this evening. Bekache and say it was too big. And into crown or reducing government size. And see this current one by no presidency inquired 2.5 billion. With the lean government, presidency is 2.5 billion. But previous MPP, there was 300 million. So where is the cut?
3 billion and 200
million Ghana cedis.
Okay, 300 million. Okay.
And this previous one, the Abbas is here and 2.5 billion.
Okay.
Ghana cedis for the year. With a lean government.
I pass so much is so kakra 500,000
Hey, sister, if you are 2.5 billion. And MPP previous to 2024, MPP there 300 million.
Million. Are you quoting from the budget? Because I'm not seeing that.
Yes, I'm quoting from the budget.
Page bank because I'm not seeing the okay.
And I do not have the documents here, but I was following.
Yes, it doesn't help the discussion.
I mean, you have access to it. Definitely, you have.
I have access to. That's what I want to know. Which one? Because you are quoting two documents: 2024 budget, any this year budget. So we have to get at least confirmation that these figures are true, from billion to million. No?
Please do the needful and just what you can confirm it. Almost ready budget, you know. Almost say market women bank, you know, women's bank, you know.
Women's bank.
Almost quote for 51 million Ghana cedis. The pattern, no, are you privy to that information?
Yeah, but not exactly the figure. Because me meeting your wholesale, so I have to always read.
Within the warehouse, no keeping your
maybe my reciting figures are.
Yes, almost quoted 51 million for the women's bank, and they quoted 50 million for research at the presidency. It doesn't make sense. Research, I don't know research for 50 million. And then after you call your ace and no drama. You're doing why and 50 million Ghana cedis for research at the presidency, and 51 million for women's bank. And this women's bank almost banned across 16 regions. 16 regions.
Okay.
And so no, so it doesn't and yet me do want to what I say with a lean government SNK, I mean the cost of Sanema win a baffle. But to say okay say you don't have the document, you know. Well, who document who say they make because this idea you can't review who don't talk running at your made that sense. So
okay, yes, they are now asking because but generally, you are okay with the budget apart from the okay, it's any lean, sir. The Omoka say you're okay with the budget?
No,
taxes
I'm not.
Not buy a year free one where ye cover the pen away where ye a betting tax where ye levy a few and only okay, Anna.
Oh, Sister Fia, yes, of course. Oh, I buy ne idea no abonabaso but one problem no so say one problem no say Sisiano. Friends a betting tax where you free way. I was not stop it friends a public employment and memu ano go to better now.
I said yeah, much bet that man so much bet that
yes, but are we encouraging them to do it more? Because this is a free public employment. Yeah, free public employment.
That's
and
true.
Bet we say okay, since you the bet in free moon just because even a brochure how you cry, yeah, taxi bet to deter people from betting. Exactly.
Your friend a luxury tax, so who is called virtual bet? Yeah, you should be ready to pay the tax on it.
Well, but Ghana they encourage it.
But so him say buying the year campaign so about obetwem. He's just fulfilling his campaign promise.
Well, the consequences need the union be consequences the union be hunting. Minju mrebe me that's it.
Yo, yeah, that's it. Yo. I think. I say at the end of the day, no, the consequences they be. In fact, Dr. Sako they buy on here by budget. Or say betting tax and kwan ke betimi atua free SHS. Betting tax is ikano. Nke betimi atua free SHS. Nti no. Uyi a e was so pay baby for the question. Yes, I want na waso be hye. So what you say ha? Wa na waso be hye. Eh 7 to 40 if you are na politics, we are tired of NDC and MPP. Well, we are tired of crowd politics in the obepe because who mo no control Ghana economy. No control taxes. Nti we have to. If you listen to what MPP was saying, and Adam here, finance minister under President Kufuor say, betting tax one cedi and NDC can they have really not saved anything. Because share Emrano, but they didn't collect anything.
Betting tax that they said they have abolished. We never collected betting tax. We never implement the betting tax. So to come and tell Ghanaians that you have abolished something that was not implemented is to deceive the people of Ghana.
Adam no so man did betting tax bia. That's what he's saying.
Account has been abused in recent years. In the last 8 years, a study revealed that 29.1 billion Ghana cedis had accrued to the tax refund account, with only 12.5 billion Ghana cedis, representing 43% of the total accrued amount, being used for tax refund purposes. Mr. Speaker, the study also revealed that 16.6 billion Ghana cedis, representing 57% of the total amount accumulated in the tax refund account, was misapplied. Mr. Speaker, which is a total violation of the Revenue Administration Act, Act 915, and the Public Financial Management Act. Instructively, Mr. Speaker, there were virtually no tax refund arrests over the period. Mr. Speaker, and therefore, we are reducing the current tax refund ceiling by 2 percentage points from 6% to 4% of total revenue, as defined in Section 69 of the Revenue Administration Act, Act 915. Mr. Speaker, by reducing the ceiling on the tax refund from 6% to 4%, Right Honorable Speaker, we have saved the taxpayer 3.8 billion Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, this amount is enough to close the revenue shortfalls from the removal of the e-levy and the betting levy. So, Speaker, the e-levy would have accrued 1.9 billion Ghana cedis, and the betting tax would have accrued 180 million. The two put together is just above 2 billion Ghana cedis. By reducing the tax refund account from 6 to 4, it is enough to remove this tax, and the savings will be provided to take care of social interventions. Mr. Speaker, already we have saved 3.8 billion cedis for 2025 alone from one source, and this is enough to close the gap from the taxes we have removed today. Mr. Speaker, to address the concerns from well-meaning Ghanaians on how to close the revenue shortfalls as a result of the removal of the selected taxes, the answer is that we have stopped the bleeding. We have stopped the bleeding.
And the minister, era at force, no, see they've stopped the bleeding. Well, you better story, you better antibiotic because you see, the Dr. Sako, they're kind of very important. Say, what stop bleeding? No, some this year we expenditure and count so, but what we expenditure so about 10 billion. What stop bleeding? No, say sika ni nyunugu and crofodi a conco bottom. But what stop here? I don't sika a fee. Would the babo man who brand what is so 10 billion from President Kufuor time? Nay 269.9 billion. There 279. NDC the budget 2025 budget 269 billion. To what is so by 10 billion? Agenda 111 also on yet. And to what stop bleeding? No, I didn't agenda 111 on yet because we need the hospitals. We need the hospitals. I don't think our dialysis I a problem. We need it. But that is the position of the minister. You can take the link, join it and share your view. Everybody has a right to share their opinion. Another good evening.
Good evening, Sister Fiona Mpacho. What is saying?
Adomonzo.
Radia Domenzo. Yo, the kami chia busia fo na kakra mewa mekanise ye kodidio se na banchi ya adida de ya ye mu bi no ye kan say John Mahama second coming no want me nye bibia nya de because baby na oman na ekono na ye hia obi a sebe na adwini mu edowo ayi ho so ti ase na nye tete no ma no because ato force ye deputy finance minister pen enti no sa wo de toto adwuma na MPP ye na utimi hunu say wa afedi o ma be break ye down kra. Number 1 say via manti koko a ye ka say ye de be ko 60 60 million no ya manti. Number 1 what ye me tema sopa because na minim say ka me can't remember me say me ntina brochire brim because me ba be ye koko no ahafu mem enti no se koko ntimi ye ntimi anka John Mahama wadada ye. Number 2 24-hour economy Sevia on the name unwisa me say adwuma atade because na come I ready mapake me bag is na me ko Ghana akoye 24-hour economy ni bi because that internet
I say no can once one is or can once
some more can yen Sevia one can try say what you want ba 24-hour economy no enipa miensa be ye adwuma baako adan ya fa nipa baako na mumefa mienu nka ho amaba be yi mienu baako na di na ne baako mboma ntimi ankipu omo na mienu no na mubetimi dia toso nan a eno de abreki ma adwene se via mashipo ka me car me yusu Mercedes Benz ya say port ube ye betete no ma so enti me car mashipo ye say se via me den makwa akoyi car no
aso betimi
you ne ka so be one pot ne so
na so be ne kakra because we ye
via my ready me back
we
na
fi ho
me back na mapaki go hono as they say me come me de kwa adwuma Your Mahama mama shepo ka ya duty ya want so as they say ya me to say me den and ye kokko bomb me over 1.3 car almost a marathon hanom over
now be ship car dem na won twen ma yen taxi view answer na wa ship car
no we yi ni ba ne tax ne wonya de ne budget ne ba bibia be ye okay Entimi meti wonyina minim say budget nyankopon ya adoma ato forcing edru parliament wode e kwa na me ma o mo be fa kai say via say minika wo krom ha minso a minister me de kwa koyi say meye ne den ni ato so nan
Debbie to before be call next one now what do you say mama ba obe port ni free ana
say entia
one cat free one cat
free that you can support no and na first
mini so
but one cat free I want this way say
you want process to money
this is mean to me because they say 3 months you know me want me to what ya me can now was me it's serious
obi when we do this me can just say don't worry na say who send him momo a e nto hwe because Mama yi 11
and Rami Sunday yet me because the via mumientie ni ade no wan kase wa yi o si obeyi mbacho brofo no
Debbie we ba onim a process so a process
the via no na ti ho
Debbie who say so tie we are in the middle of the month. And usually no mo ya ebe take a year and say take effect. There was say o possibira e go ho
Via na electricity no wan kan ho hwe o galamse wan kan ho hwe o galamse mante ekwan a ye fa so ama ensuo yi ani asati o mante ho hwe o ebi ana wote ya ebi a obetimi aka bibi kakra akyere me Devia mani brabre am soli edru juada ni ukuada na mete ha no aha na mehu no kre no aha na mehu no se ade no ebeba ma na se emem enti wonse ukuada duru ya na ade ubonse meboko na ho enye bibia se de wo mo keka ye na manti ase no ye beba be kirekire mu wa enti de manti garam se no ana akufuado atu garam se asai o maino enunti ama o maina butu ama no ma boaya di ama diane enti memma no manti ho asem manti free education no manti ho asem ye manti wona yese woye mubuafo woye nifrafo wona ontimi enye ne yakase ebe mante wotwi o me woma yese university first year fo no omo be koni free no kakra bi na mete ye eno kra no enheda ene maadwene emfa ne ye papa because papa we menjini enti media dia me mechanize samre MPP for munya ready na yesa de mo aba 2028 na se musa bejeja mo ho a sevia ye ni ba brinti mesre ese yi budget ne de yen san ko kan ne foforo because me kan ne de oye den sevia next week me de kan ne picture ebeba beto so na obehu car ma sende over 19,000 pounds car na me koko duro ne e ka kire me se min ko yi no 20,000 asembesi enti mesre
okay but koko ade no ma me nche koko de no se e kada ho dada tie bia wan te koko ho asem e ba the budget document na yeso ya kwa journalist it takes us months to realize it enti ye bibia na normally am budget highlights and no na ato force be kan ye no and you want budget na nkasa the full budget which is detailed so
me download to cram into me
until you download there you see the full detailed budget but Coco they no say there's an outstanding debt of 32 billion Ghana cedis that Coco board order of which 11.92 billion is due to be paid this year into a kada it is one
the bio Stefia sa same way dia mo come here ntibi
something I didn't
because not what ye papa ye a year friend is saying all ye ne campaign nyina no na onim senia akufa adwasia say o man no se na onim se kada GRA na onim se kada VRA na onim kada koko ayi na onim ekeda ho na onim kada tese Ghana de empo me ma me kra no no one him car me ma me de a nipa 31 million no na what ye check Ghana and no dear sister check cut da ho say kenny ho de ye nim ni say afi ye beto koko 70 million ama budget ni mu eno de
David me nti wa say e ka no na MPP ti wa no mo kan ka we kire Ghana for so man ti am kan ka we ate and they need to fight e ka no
miami ofa opoku ayi so ni say God so ni memu de ye bom wonu ankasa ba begina ho ka say e ka MPP fo dinti eno o man ti mi anko ayi your friend is a market ayi anko je bosia ameto koko no se wo be kaya
Eurobond ya
se wo be kaya wo ba be ka enti e ka ne de savia no omunim savia omunim kan ye ni mutie o
David are you saying so munim kan nti me enkotua na ye de ka wo se etua na say me ba o
ye but wo be gi bia ka ho no de atua ye ka de me pese wo ye no se e ka ne de ye de enti se bosia na eso wo mo bo ka ho a ene wo mo nyina en reduce wo mo pay no ana se me fancy radio mama ka se the whole 4 years no one pay ni ministers nyi pay no omo de be ka koko ne bo ne ho a is better because omo ntimi mama kan tire say ye de ka enti ya nto koko mu ya nto koko 40 million o yan to koko 40 million because of my yet say koko no senka ye kanu kure mu pa e senko om kokoton a enko om tono 80 million enye 30 million enti om ba om beto ni 60 million enti die ye pese om hu ni say wo man to kra no om de om fa 60 million ma ye eno de ye pene so nyame nsira
na de nkrofo no otwe atwe wo ate ho no ya sem keto akra
Savia na be twe
yo
nyame nsira o ba
yo yeah that's it na say but good evening mentie we you know there's a small delay just focus on reduce the volume no so that you can just listen to this one why
but I'm waiting a morning no Australian tea.
Oh okay good yeah that's it I join here.
No worries. Good evening.
Good evening.
My patron, I want to say.
Yeah, when you announce way.
This is the first time I may contribute to.
Yeah, that's why we appreciate you. Yeah, any support who are joining here. Yep.
Thank you very much. Now my person may contribute to the video now we play of Atoforsen no. Now all can say well you can say the refinancing of taxes no. And no more the share your friend is saying. Like the loopholes now vacuum now creating.
Obviously they stop the bleeding, you know.
Exactly. But then a person may say and say, is it Sikabia I want a buying daho and I say Sika or Mojiji?
Okay, let's play the video again.
The fund account has been abused in recent years. In the last 8 years, a study revealed that 29.1 billion Ghana cedis had accrued to the tax refund account, with only 12.5 billion Ghana cedis, representing 43% of the total accrued amount, being used for tax refund purposes. Mr. Speaker, the study also revealed that 16.6 billion Ghana cedis, representing 57% of the total amount accumulated in the tax refund account, was misapplied. Mr. Speaker, which is a total violation of the Revenue Administration Act, Act 915, and the Public Financial Management Act. Instructively, Mr. Speaker, there were virtually no tax refund arrests over the period. Mr. Speaker, and therefore, we are reducing the current tax refund ceiling by 2 percentage points from 6% to 4% of total revenue, as defined in Section 69 of the Revenue Administration Act, Act 915. Mr. Speaker, by reducing the ceiling on the tax refund from 6% to 4%, Right Honorable Speaker, we have saved the taxpayer 3.8 billion Ghana cedis.
Okay. It's in Bachelor what it's no maji dada.
Okay.
A fund they are 2 for tax refinancing. It's your maji 29.1 billion.
Okay.
And a work funding him. But what's out of that money, 16 billion there or more misapplied. Their for baby truly. Yeah. It's your honor say or more blocking.
So now my question person me who honey say your taxes are your free your workers ni ho ye and no more dia kogu ho. And now almost rebase back to the baby oh yeah file your tax return now to your excesses and then they give it back to you.
And yes, they give it back to you, but say your taxes are baby I took road down a shortfall so one normal they fund way no ho na cover up.
Not to cut you short na no amitie Eriko Poku wo obi show so asempa. And na all mu say sa sika na omode egu hot for fund no taxes are ebia ye tua no government na kasa de to honom purposely to refund to say ebia ye hey unsa we adwuma na sa afe no so a o file your tax na if excess is ma then they refund the amount enti nchiremu de buy ne say sa sika na eda ho no taxes na bi matua abro so a aban na ahye da budget e no ato ho enti say afe ne so na say claims ne ba then they refund but say
Ghana don't refund mo bi am fi Ghana because you file taxes na kata just companies no
enti the me point I'm making say aban na kasa na ayi says can to ho nom for that purpose enti say na says can
out of your total sika na yetua ma na ban yi we na to fund nim no
okay na ono aban na ate ato ho okay enti me question is say sika bia ma na say wa nkote says can anto ho a sika bia ni ho
exactly
enti sa vacuum na wo say o de be kwa fill no if you don't cough it from wow they say bia me ame wo misika eda ho na me say mayi mu e bia 5 cd ato ho enti obi ode meka bia no ba me de betua se me ama nyi says can anto asis can ni ho
there be
enti how is it going to fill up a vacuum our creating
say your budget budget bia your expectation ho your indication of how much revenue in your person in a year usually you do we are not able to meet the revenue target. The idea is I says you cannot be good for 20 more. Yeah, the bidon. Say individuals in the ultimate so be a 2 away, a bro so kakra bro so but the kabom as national. Ultimate say yes, can be a come because you be an tax in your company biana a bit you an tax kakra hand. That's where they use I find no musicanum their quack baby a short for no one.
Okay, very well.
By regulation, also at force in Koti Financial Administration Act.
Okay.
The law. And I'm buying 2 minutes at Seto. Yes, I buying a pet. There's a regulation that allows government to do that.
Okay, but it's still from your contributions are normative free.
Yes, from it's from internal revenue now.
Exactly. There was one call Abiodi kind friend now or car about presidency budgeting. No? So and also me tea from or more tape. I don't remember the exact page, but it's in one of the can I find it out Amaya now quite indicate or so more because as a more or less number in the presidency, but more budget quite on the high.
Because of as I want to go into it. Maybe next week I will go into it. Because of the categorization. Also, be on my presidential staffers. But presidential staffers say, well, maybe I better categorize. Oh, you're categorizing baby as ministers, any deputy minister. Into who is say, oh, you're team minister, no so. You're team ministers list, no so. But nipa no ye presidential staffer no. Ni category, ni level now or one. Our office of the president, hey, minister.
Oh, exactly.
It is drawing from minister, equivalent of minister conditions of service.
Okay.
And once a bounce again for your headlines, your penny anyway.
Yeah.
And those who come
I really get it.
Because we fall for the astronomical propaganda. No, you so but look at the conditions.
Yeah,
and
because major excepts of it, it's not about almost akatuane per se, but a name of jumano
conditions.
The conditions, the office setup and cars or mobile use, especially with the research and our camp. Metese will be to set Miami Adam for Felix of Ikwachi. no office ni say be here, I think 8.8 million to run his office for this year. And
well, in fact, now no many city for cry for instance, information ministry. They were even talking about staffers.
Yes.
Staffers.
Yes.
And what was 11.
Mm-hmm.
Research. Deputy Director of Research. We were all like, one minister. Staffers 11. What the other?
Well, yeah, man. You say you're born fire, my who you succeed because. And now, my person me can't get to a bit so far earlier. You know, now only lady in here, lawyer no US no. So people should like really get into other visa requirements. No, because I myself in so me that's my field.
Okay.
Yes,
we immigration.
Yes.
Australia.
Australia, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You should send me your number or private to him so that I can do an interview with you if you do that in Australia.
Okay,
because that would be, but he's not an immigrant, or not yet mining expert or a mining engineer of Australia.
Yeah.
So COVID time after COVID, he was telling me about Australia here. Forklift operators, but
yes,
I didn't know anybody else there to give us more information on that.
Hannah Kasa, the job opportunities not Dawson. It's hard to get in here, but when you do have it's one of the best.
Mr. I send my number or private chat, no, so me from no me know book interview so that you can also explain. Ghana yeshi into obi nya chance na obetimi akosi adia na obetimi akoya adwuma baby a. We just want to be facilitators and help will be here. Why?
Yeah. It's
you are
good
in the field
today.
Thank you. Send me number and I'll send you a text. Why?
Okay.
Thank you so much. No, so a lawyer or Australia, no a friend or Ghana, no. You focusing on building ourselves in other opportunity be a baby because on also there Australia, no a lawyer or no. Now, mine and Casa there, and Dr. Sako there kind of grow because yet I don't even know why people are not focusing on that aspect. No, I say, yeah, angry enough, sir. Say Ghana, yeah, number 1 producers of gold in Africa. Number 6 producer of gold in the world. China, yeah, number 1 producer of gold in the world. How say China to me, number 1 producer of gold? China, no matter how to Ghana, you gold. And yeah, number 6 producer of gold in the world and number 1 in Ghana in Africa. No, yeah, gold nisi kani nyina kwa abrochire mba ho. Does it make sense? Ye gold na ye tu Ghana no. Sikani nyina dodo na akọ abrochire mba ho. And people don't want to focus on that. They be sorry, me betena han mani enye beef. Say they na say okatechie ne bra so masi o Virginia yo moko na ye beef. No, but this is a very important issue that every Ghanaian must be concerned about. What I say, beyond the beef, no, ye thika ye did to gold. Ye number 1 producer, extractive industry, no. Abrofuno between 2011 and in 43 billion and omenya profit after tax. And your production cost to mfaso nkwa omenya omode ko mukrom abroche 43 billion. So we have no business going to IMF and begging for 3 billion. Abrofuno nkwa gold no any oil na yetu no emu mfaso 43 billion. Ghana ye gold ewo the highest price. Sisi ye gold ye ni yenya yeti yo. Yansu de bia yenya consistent high value of gold. Basika no ni nyina na ye na ama abrofu yen sign contract papa. Contract ebe sign nyina royalties no ne e de ama broni. Yen sign contract papa anti royalties e ye nyina coins. And this is where was here starting ye de ne kan ye ra to force adwen ba so na say ombesesa contracts now omone abrofu companies now sign now they can do that so that we can have value for money. And now Dr. Sako de suggest say be ya yen call the Nigeria ni Botswana for ye bi Botswana omu nyamu classmate kwa ne Ghana omu 2 diamond ye 2 gold then we are number 1. And so Botswana for ye shared profit. Omune abrofu ne share profit no because who broni no betu the diamond no mbeka say nya wo nkwa usika na de betu ye no betu mfa so ba ne ye no wache. Nti why is it that Ghana there ye ne omuntu oil no ye ne omuntu gold no ne ye so for usika betu ya famfa so no ko ne ma ye fair royalties unless it's abro because I just can't see any explanation for this kind of idea. Yeah, from Godisberg time, what be seen no. Yeah. At force in by a crown way increase royalties no mutuama kakran. But we must stop this. We must stop this. And yes, our generation ADH come the bedding crowd. Focus on sometimes the shouting match doesn't help us. We to put value on what is going on in the ground. Brad Success say exactly how many people lack, or see many people lack researching thoroughly on issue rather than depending on hearsays. Yeah, say no say yepe. Yeah, tiene abane ye yanko for be trend this and yepe. But you go no so ko. O yanko for no amu beef no. Ni you go ni sika no ko. 1D 1F na to force nka this is kenny ho. Nti 1D 1F ye ntumi nye. Enti wo de wani ato so say NDC be create job bia ma wa. Job na ho no ye pamo MPP for na obenya. But there will be no other jobs. But we need to intentionally create industrial jobs. Obi abo be pamo nko for MPP for so ba next time mo so ba be pamo NDC for na square one. O say unemployment nkwa double ye. Between last year and last 2 years and last year, unemployment in coffee 7% costs 14%. Why? And so your gold production, yeah, number one. That's why unemployment are double. Because gold near the end, near the edge more. Machines near the edge, my funny pine edge. Into my see you, maybe one my was here. Kwame Judy say, or say, fellas, get that because information ministry has been eliminated. And all the agencies fall under the office now. But you see, you delete information ministry. That's the agencies need workers no more. You see, that's what we don't get in Ghana. You can remove one ministry, but workers no more. They've not gone anywhere. They are still there, drawing the same salary. It's minister and penny, you know. But the workers are still there. Civil servant now near secondary or to other ministries. So we have really not changed anything. So say I'm intentional about building Ghana. Ye categories. See a ben kitwesia. Ye be brache. Ye be game of chess. We aba. But the same ko Jonani ye come as so meba oba misaka. Good evening.
Hi, Mr. Via. Just
Adom.
I know Ghana who power. Now, Dr. Sarkodie, Professor Sarkodie, what can't see me and someone in the interview will be some questions and what they him. In the paper, say, you hear what say, educate even a baby at the parliament, you if you. How much work? As I'm president, as I'm Panamacajon, you will need you in the four Ghana pa, or makes my car someone with my kitchen, Simon Mecano, or kind of can you do at all? Oh, too good near our deal. A good assassin show. Your population, you could. Our China for China for good, crache, sister.
We are number one.
Number one. Africa, especially number one Africa. Sister, you may say, NTA machines no, I'm not for the ban. On the machine, ban out to good. Now, and back what time said the air can. You 50 can Japan Cassassin we. Also, about contract you and could be him. On penny. Wakasa Seminda, Metian Amak Wakasa Seminda. Because I see Sister Pia, good. And I'm as good woman, one also war machines. Again, Jen sending him say, 50-50. Now they are all Utua, no man get webby. Next come for some communion, 3 billion and that's no, and no Quayacopa was a brands and Yenya. Messi me bompire say, Bussian, Mamma my bio. I am a phenomenal my Bussia bio. Mempire, me boy say, Mamma my Bussia bio. Oh my young Kaka can you find chairman? Next of year, and penny phone will kick back. Contract ye can. Sister Pia Unim, in kick back in tea, and as animal in a costume. And yes, I can you mad that. Because be confessed that aquaphobia baba beside no adjustment. Patria, yes, Ghana or Patria, Patriaji, the patro patron saying that Yenya Hotabana. I feel kind of watching a cry more.
Say, contract that they are near sign.
Mammy and 19 penny from 20 to contract any lawyers, Papa Ghana.
No, I went here, I'm betting me about Chichabano.
As some I'm making so bitty, Obiwa Banimu, and so Nimshio, but bitty abonting, the Onimino or can't even find Yajuma. Okay, Sarkodie and some more kind. Sister, me Tiana, Michiano, maybe Fino, and some more kind perfect. Who's your guys over there? You go on only time. Now, where you only peppy or Ghana, or Mokano. I'm betting my man. There is some minister be appointed on me. Give a pub, give a Juma pap or Tibenes the Fiombe. Careful to squat, only pay 11. I have formed on me. Research bank and Omokoya Bregana. Fellas or Bahabe Petroleum. landing ha obisua dia wa ya wo ye okwa no wadwuma no wo ye no wadwuma no wo ye no wadwuma no wo ye Sisafia Ghana company for no sebi producer sebi ni kwa sebo e kan kire om na emom o matu kwa bank for mo so abehu no ma even kura abotan so Spain abotan so enso mutimi ye aduane ma aduane e export no ma e kwa adada countries bi di be chen nyina na on might say ma Ghana hwe Burkina Faso djuma abrante wodi ena da bi o kan ye so obeye ne ho ayire ne ho aye soja djuma no be ye sa e wi abekina abonutuo e champion no ma champion ye no Ghana e ho amanfa so ye mu ni din kra bio ene de operation feed yourself na fe no mo sa de aba bio ene de o mo say en san family bio ne ehia
because
senke hia nkanye
na mama kan operation feed yourself oh
and say we ultimate export
operation feed yourself say
and the ultimate export
yeah
miss ultimate export sister fia hwe kosua kra ne kosua ba ko ye Ghana yesen kosua ba ko singisi kosua ba ko yesen
kosua kwa broche ne boarding but say yeah kete fa ne kambo mu as a national Ghana no a emfa so obeba so ma yetumi export yeah
sister fia manyini kakra Dako farms minim Dako farms agogo Dako space mu nyina hwe emre bi atwam won na o my Ghana ye poultry farm ni ye normal ni ye no Ghana no wa woni tua na ahokyere ni o sei ena ni bia ba ye ni bibia no ye wanim di for first when university kura na e Ghana kura na se na emienu pe na miensa mienu kura na ho tech na legon ena ye bibia aka ho ama ni adoso ama chite nipa sua de ama bi kura bi school mu nya adwuma nye enso ntimi mfa ya adwene nkreti bibia kickback ena ama we nyina ba we ya ma kan de akasa bebrebe na de be sister fia misi ekodi dada no awo hwi ni ho recycle misi kodwo ponkoma na o cheche nsem mu na o kan mi tia odi mi tie kodwo ponkoma cheche no ensem atofo se kan ya blofo odi kofa so odi ehun nsem akire beba so oni obi ya ina na
you want say yi taxes e free one want next training college for e betu a mo no
ye fe na kwasi kono ogina kwantia
adentia
mame bibia ni we
this is budget
tie sister fi sika na yetua no senke ye de ya de Ghana ma ya nkan ye ya o ne o ma ya wuntua to de be na o ma na be yi ba yetua sika na ko gunkofo botom ane ne ha no anye bibia na ha nipa o utua ane de ya de ma kromwa ye ya kwan light nsuo nti ya dum light se ya to pipe ya to pipe ko ma no ti se bia ye e project we nti na ye dem within a short time ya de ya ma ye kro ni de no information no bibia no say light na dum no o kan se ko tam table bra ye ko ta table bra ma wan sika ye tua e ma electricity ai timi enkrofo ye adwuma o no sister enkrofo ntimi nkon ko gigi sika no me se me nkase asuo me se Ghana connection electricity for ni bi ye me se me nkase asuo mi amani enye se bi obi na ka temi o uni to metima connecting light na ma direct na sika no oboso so na ba bi sika me se me nkase ase adwuma mu dia no
ende obi anima
aha neti we wuye sei no na abane na wo ye na se o mane na wo bo no
okay
Sisafia yan kana kure nkyere wona de aduru de dise nyame bam se Ghana kwa me se bosian de moye bosian bio bosian na mo ha ye o because this kind of mojigu on contact on Sisafia who fit why never be to say aka ne sei
say ya na ebetu na yesu kura ya ebetu
ya na ebetu de nti o won kwa say so timi ka bie because in etua de say timi cabinet o mo say enyo mo kwa na nyansa o mo tim nipa 275 as 276 ngo no e de be patin pa no ye mo Ghana
okay
ti be sere o mo di bia o mo nya bi why that's
Mr. Akayo brother so good evening Bajetio
good evening Stefia Bokode
Adum now so
oh Nyankopon Adum I don't know I think that A to Z boils down to leadership crisis. If you don't have a good leader or be planning a nation, this is how we run into problems. And it seems that Ghana, no, for a long time, we don't have a planner. Yeah, work it too. Because if say Singapore, say one of the Malaysia, are the same independence now, they are far gone. You see, say there's a problem. Whilst one natural resources more than even Malaysia or Singapore. See, the long and short of it boils down to leadership. We have a leadership crisis, which, if we don't have a radical leader, there's nothing that we can do about it. you have all the natural resources, but you can't manage it, and outsiders will benefit from it. He said, "Oh, we bushim na, yejam gold na, when you bushia penny papa, or you can fro be say be a mama too good, no. Na no man is kaki to. That's how I say a politics, your church politics, nima, your mamma mote the way I say politics na I say. But as politicians, they come up with big English and theories that confuse people. But we say that is it Dr. Sako the Okana? Since we've played with our natural resources and the foreigners has benefited from our, our mistakes, and they've benefited from our stupidity, if I should put it. Sorry to say that.
No, you are right.
Baby, I will stop therapy, Yeah, they've benefited from it because I said, yeah, we didn't have that foresight. Say, in the next 30 years, in the next 50 years, Ghana a plan and they say your natural resources, your big question or just like that, say the Pakoni Mami too, we are a whole tax. Like it doesn't make sense. Why don't you go in for loans to buy machines and expertise for them to come in? Extract the natural resources and you pay them. It rather makes sense. Example of family land. My finding as a good work for a assassin. When you lead a papa, busia penny papa because young copper busia. Nimpo binu to 2 years can I be near the beer quede, akutia busia, not the becano. Yet I hui dance so because young tons are singing in a and I young Tom movie, then the papa on the emi fanko. That's what we are now. And I think we will need a radical leader or by own fashion who will be to just like what Trump is doing. And I just like what Burkina Faso guy, 36-year-old guy, or by there are some contracts where we treat like why you ruthless now one go over bureaucracy. You can't salvage situation in our country, because Ghana women's is here. Because obey a book bureaucracy, you follow law and it's hard enough. You still be stuck in your ABCD. That's the problem that we find ourselves in. Because how can a minister get up and say, "Oh, toll booth na yenye man working"? Whilst the Burkina Faso have trucks are applied through the road, we don't get almost cars and I say into cars as in which will be it doesn't make sense. You understand? You have a road to how mobilize taxes, like who mobilizes car out of the tools. And you get up one day, the tool shouldn't work. And we have Burkina cars flying from Tema straight through to Ashanti region to Bro to the
Burkina, Niger, Mali, all the landlocked countries. No,
me toll booth today and say, there me drive that road, and I'm say, maybe our trucks 10 with heavy goods. And at the moment it becomes stationary and it starts to sink. So I hear stationary because of the heavy loads, And sure, for just so 2-3 years, these cars freely apply roads as say kwana these are the petty things in penny for it gives the reason for people to say they are very wicked you understand? Because there are some deals they involve themselves in the private enterprise police have done that. And I worry, Intina me do baby one careful, you insult them near castle who a young guy, but who did attend, but Adibua who say Okra car or taxi exactly or taxi our toso being chino. All the conditions here then a two taxi driver and also where's the property now the man renter. Like you condition them, where you say now then you do a bind there as an year can be different. Yeah, cause I need deal, not at the end of the day. Now you make it.
And when you so being a bit, I said Dr. Sako there can say Dubai for UAE for one two no oil no obi entu mom Nigeria kra no no ye ebunu hwe ye na bre kra se bejimi bre no ye so nkotu po no ni nyansa ma fam ye ebunu ni ebusa se wo bedo asase ne enchem me mefa two because me na me land lord now afa one ya ye tie oil ni ye gold hu no ye de ya no ebufa.
What's they always try to cut deals with these expatriates because expatriates or the deal neighbor I'm sure they have a meeting before they sign the deal. And sometimes they pay. Me sure say experts, they are smart businessmen. They are coming to make profits. And they try to cut deals with these politicians and they sign contracts in their favor. They don't sign contracts in the favor of the nation, which is Ghana, because you could Dubai now, their only resources that it's a desert country. Until their only resources was the oil. Until they didn't play with it. And because of the oil, the country has been blessed. Ocean infrastructure work, some European countries, even America sometimes.
Air condition, bar stop.
Yeah, I've been there. I've been there and I've witnessed how things are. And they are living the best of life, all because they make good use of your natural resources, which is the oil. I'm not sure if Dubai they be mining gold or bauxite or lithium. It's only oil. Oh, so they use the oil money, the oil revenue to develop the country, to push money to tourism. This is the amount for Ecohona. That's where they get their money. Tourism, they're making use of tourism. Because in some years to come, the oil, they won't get anything from the oil. Because anything I'm so yeah, cars, electric cars, and because some time will come, we'll all be using electric cars, we'll not be using oil. In which natural resources being built for Leon. With Ghana, we need a radical leader. Meaning, John Mahama beating go in that way. Those say he's a soft person, but he can be soft and radical in thoughts and in leadership. Unfortunately,
President Mahama was just 4 years. Penti radicalism, no, you can do it so much. 4 years.
Yes.
What we need is to be obeying at least 10 years.
One thing I've known about the new, politics has evolved. Right now, Ghana, me sure say baby I say Ghana economy. If you get a leader or you good or money, they say look at you betting tax, you see how people are rejoicing. Imagine.
But I know they say so men now that Ghana for rejoicing say 2017 and Dr. Sarko there kind. I mean Kaipa 2017 people almost one year benchmark value. And almost duty so by 50%. People are jubilating. Any 2 years we're back in crisis. So it's not about what we are jubilating today. It's a long term. I don't know. That's what Dubai and Singapore and Malaysia for no more long term. And Kolano, money or money, they've planned for them. Yeah, they're penny yakodi.
If you want to say there are some taxes, so what's a tax you are a miani pacono? You understand? Inti won't even say, oh, the long term. That's why I try to side with Dr. Sarko there with the COVID levy. I think even with the name Kekeno, if it could be rebranded, maybe with a different name, because COVID, me for instance, I was like, so COVID a trim. The SAFM to why the COVID levy. If it can be, the name can be changed and we'll still be taking that levy, is okay. You understand? Because people are having issues with it. Say, I said, COVID levy, I didn't sell it all. We maintain it are fine with the X amount of money a boy economy. If we maintain it, it's good, but they should just change the name and still take the levy. Or else, I think we'll run into problems. Aside that, I think the youth bet no more. It wasn't the best. I did be there. Or mine would be them now. You live in a bet or the banner amount from power. I think you are in to serve the people, and if the people don't want it, you just wash it. Now, for areas where we can make money. Agriculture, agriculture, and when we say if you are we spend much money on consumption. It's why I say investing in agriculture. You understand? Agriculture regions in a region, on the state farms are. A bit me investing in agriculture, region back investing much in onion, a bit investing in cassava, a bit investing in plantain, a bit investing in oil. Palm oil. That is the thing I say. We need to have a leader or a radical. If you have a leader or a radical star, I don't know, crowd few. You need to say coastal areas more good in fishing. Near more fishing no more. You buy eastern region, plantain farms.
Yes, when you pay Sikan at 20, a bed, then yes, I radical leader. No leader be by a person, a Jessica or Nippon and Sunny at one man, dear bed, and you'll be under what's a young son on radicalism, no Wissika, obey to meet your delegates, and that's obey to meet your Ghana for bribe, obey to t-shirt.
If you always say, say the Ghana politics now, we are getting there right now. Ghanaians want a leader.
So I disagree. I disagree. Ghana for no, you can't say Abranti be message or send it. George appear or say Ghana or say it's true Ghana and Singapore got their independence in the same year, but the mentality are not the same. That's why we are far behind. It's true. You can't when the leaders come, but in passe, you be the team say yeah Jessica. Yeah, the leader will you or canoe leader will bow or them fear be share, but you porno because or no bet me at yan to mano. You can't say I know keke, but we are not ready to pay the price for a good leader.
Yeah, we need to. Wednesday, if you
So
always
we need to get there.
Yeah, we start from somewhere. Oh, when say whoever thought say your president Joe Mahama will come back, but Ghanaians has become very sophisticated and very discerning to the sense they sat down and analyzed, did comparative analysis between the two parties. You know, let's give Joe Mahama the second chance. So there's
but apart from decision, no, I can Abranti and Catasa. Said John Mahama Catherine NDC Vonia Kogu Kwai Mundo. Near your operation feed or say Diamond because you're spending $200 million on a more. You're spending $300 million every year on poultry feed.
Everything is about they will do. If everything is about communication, who communicate teacher Ghana for say ammonia mamon cramoma, yeah be DMO. If you are able to produce more, once it came to a point in time, for time, not every Friday we put on African wear, which even still today is people are doing it. And they say once people find pride in even wearing African wears, even in other countries. But previously, not yet, something of that sort, you know. It's about how we market it and how we communicate to the public. Ghanaians now more then I say, oh, this what's going to help us. You see, can I say anything, yeah. Me think say Ghana for me and as a form with you. Because problem I come do so I come a quite bright every night. Yes, oh, this is the plan that we want to do, and this is the plan we need to go by. Mean this Ghana for because they won't go by it because agriculture, food. If you are, it takes money from people.
And I remember figures. You import over $200 million.
Is it? Rice.
You imported chewing gum, $8.4 million chewing gum. You imported tin tomatoes. You imported garlic. You imported fish and some just useless things. But I don't about because it was our farms. I will assume 50 acres of palm oil. But sometimes omunya tofumpo. And so Ghana imported and one. Can you imagine? Ghana as my why can't we say you're banning? You're banning and one. Malaysia always near a benu dia way ho. Or moment the koyangwa, no must say imported and one brand near Tom Macola. Comacola Cosi Madina Betty Ashama. Shops oh in one or motoni made a brutini at the Vietnam near it.
Until I said, if you have a radicalist leader, this is where you make sure say you collaborate with the private sector. If you produce these kind of things, Yamamo office, they say the John Mahama minister agribusiness. And this kind of, I'm sure it falls under agribusiness. You contact them and you're able to produce us. We can use it to even feed our kids in SHS, free SHS. They can use it to do so many things. Situated properly. There will be the product will buy out of I thank God say I'm sure say the ministry agribusiness now was instituted for these kind of things. Say be more body and that pro export but me sure said this sector will be able to take care of these kind of things because I know how they are. We will be talking. It's kind of a bobono there. Fine, be leaky there, but make any progress. See, the best thing we should base on agriculture. Coastal areas, they are fishing. Or more, fishing. They are finding ways a bit me can be in forest belt, and so we go into plantain, maize. And then it is here say a quite for solar Sisala road. Yeah, no, Sisala road in the northern or Sisala road or no. There's an area that will produce majority of maize.
Yeah. So was if even before Fufu like a flat land, they're money idea in the one
the grains, into those kind of roads, networks networks near bad. I don't know. The government needs to focus on that area, the roads. More trouble. And the person I remember, and Opano said, if their roads are done, the prices of even maize, near myself, morini, dokonone, near my home, ne born paper from because they be able to supply and cow on chema bokina for an example, bimofebinko. Oh, so I think these are things I'm sure we giving your mama the chance, it be a bit me. Yeah, in the first year and second, it be an uncle he will do things right in a radical way. If he doesn't do that, and yeah, we will come back and say the same story over and over again. And if we don't change our mindset,
I mean,
exactly,
we can only support agenda.
if we don't change our mindset about how we live, say we don't focus much attention on agriculture, the food that we eat, because we spend much on it, we will still be talking. It will not be rich as a country. It is definitely
so yeah, that's a part. One hear me, that's it, because it's true. We are all saying the same thing again, and we need to go beyond the rhetoric. And yes, I can't say every week. But there are issues that was here to me. And then see from the air. And our branch we send the message. Or they say, "Cry, ye cry important." We see we are so sick. Ye ni intestines. A boy ye nyina ye imported by Ghana. Just a dear cry, they see such a Jamaica Ghana. Ye imported ye muadie. It is a sick country. I want more organ ye import ye muadie. Ya bodam. Ya bodam. With the greatest of respect to use that language. But just say why? Na ye womranti any maba omunya adwumanye. Raphael Nketiano say a country with only 52 local dialects for development. We should just forget about it. Well, there are so many things that we can do. Akwati to say if ya men okra media en kwa metwa ni nyina egu because ye men a ye nya atofo. And so Ghana folk ko import anwa ne ngo from Malaysia no de aba Ghana. Zach say made in Ghana goods are too expensive to afford. That's why Ghanaians patronize imported goods. Nti e ho na sesele kan say our government onim policy a government betimi negotiate made in Ghana goods and prices. There's a way that it can be done. It can be done. Kofi Morgan say if you are this guy talking about expenditure no cross say the branch here back or buy no can about say office of the president nko mo ka e wo soro no enye no kre na say you say we are trying to make a government and all we have on is to beg God then say we don't have any to me. Yeah, the say we can support the president in prayer and talk. E be na conversation say Akankofa topic we am bank awukra hu say yesika no abrofo no befa $43 billion has gone. Abrofo de a profit. What I say yeah kind of say oh yeah bonfire it's a cliche but it really no it's not everything that we have spoken about and then it's not about empire but it's about practical measures I bet me that solve Ghana problems. So what I say enti ye na munyina mo say na mbebo aye na ye de jasu dwumedie no e de brem yakopon ye adoma next week next week Dr. Sako because there are aspects of the budget that we have to go into detail and so we'll see to me we can't continue Ghana say it's Ghana no minus we can't continue like that. Thank you so much to be joining here the discussions with Ebremo. Next week and come my partners. We got you FM, High Life Radio, so pick you Virginia, Kings Jersey Radio, New Jersey na, NASPA, UK abroad memo nada for Paso Belgium, France. Next week, same time we'll be here. Producer and Mr. Johansson, DOP, Dibedi Akone, DJ All Black. So we are very grateful. So many so koso boy na yeboa. Yeah, Ghana for the NOB can say yeah, myopic. We don't think far. I told you yeah. Say you think far near better now. Say you see, there are so many things that we have to do, but you better also next week. Vim Lady, good night. Good night.